Sorry, we're starting late, folks. Sandy's hair was on fire.
No, we could just skip the emoji.
Why do people turd so much, man?
Hey, Captain Fandom Nerd. Hey, LDG. I was just talking about your ears must have been burning. Hey, Mom. Who else we got? That's it for now. All right. That's what we get for being late. It's not bad. Hey, bird. Kapla.
Give to the hypno-turd. You must give yourself
This
to the
hypno-turd.
hypno-turd.
You gotta, I don't know, it's long.
Hypno-turd is dragging his butt across the carpet.
What up, Alex Lemons? Welcome to the party, pal. Oh, we got Patrick here too. What up, Patrick?
I'll kill you.
You know, that last part with Bird saying that is becoming more and more appropriate every week if you listen to Bird's reviews of these episodes.
Oh my, is it
No.
ever?
I've done myself a favor, and I didn't
Yeah.
do that this week.
Yeah, if you love a good rant, I highly recommend Bird of Prey 5's review. If you and you, by the way, regardless of whether you enjoy the show or don't enjoy the show, take it with a grain of salt and enjoy the rant.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, if you love the show and you can't stand it if somebody's nitpicking it, don't watch Bird's video because
see, that's
you
what I
will want to strangle them.
in the pre-show thing or whatever, I was telling you that that doesn't actually, you can ask LDG. It made me laugh. Like it was just because they're we did have some good discussion that as will actually aid in this, but I laugh at that, so I might watch it. I was just joking around. Alex has joined the chat. Hey, Alex, and so is Ariel.
So
Welcome.
now, before we get started, before we get into the hot takes and everything, this is something Jason and I actually discussed briefly before before Danny joined us. But here is something very interesting, and you can see exemplified by this. This is one of the opening shots of the episode. And Danny, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jason about 45 minutes ago. What's wrong with this picture?
I did not get it.
Oh, hold up. Let me put on my glasses. I took my glasses
Yeah, it might
off.
help if you can see.
I did not at all get it, but it becomes obvious.
What is wrong with this picture? Look carefully at it. I'll give you a hint. Look at the chairs.
Yeah.
Oh,
chairs.
You're replicating exactly what I looked like, I'm sure, if I could have.
Yeah. All right, man. You got me, bud. What's it? What is it?
You can see the contours of the chairs all the way down to the floors. You can see the floor plating. You can see every detail of the bridge. They brought up the lighting in this episode. And no joke. Jason and I actually compared it. We looked throughout they brought up the lighting throughout this entire episode. And I think it may have been a reaction to a lot of the fans being upset about the lighting in the first three.
Well, that in Paramount seems to screw up a lot. So I mean, why not just overtly, just brighten it up a little bit,
in some saturation, and that way, if they totally bone it,
right? And so since this is all done digitally, you can do that in post. Like I was talking to Jason about the fact, like I don't know if you saw what I was doing, but I was messing around because those burgundy. Instead of the old red, they have the burgundy stripes now on the uniforms, and they're almost indistinguishable from the black when they're standing in a dark room. So I was going into a color correction here and just trying to make it pop a little bit so you can see it better on Riker here, even though it's still not perfect, and it makes their heads a little like they've been out in the sun too much. But with a little bit of work, I could make that color correction work. This is just a little 5 minutes messing around to try and make it pop out a little.
Yeah.
And so Ariel, I don't think it has anything to do with funding, because in actuality, if you and I know some of you guys have seen this, if you look at the way this was shot, the set here is actually very bright. They intentionally bring using a combination of digital and f-stop technology. They bring the light down in for the production, and it's to try and give it a more cinematic quality. But it is actually, if you were to walk out with your naked eyes, it's brighter than the room I am in right now.
And LD made this comment, but that's not correct. When this is shot on digital, they shoot it on basically a flat setting.
Yeah.
And then they just go back and do everything in post.
Right. And so this is so with and that's the nice thing though about the digital technology is that means that after the fact you can go back and correct it. And so, which is what it looks like they did here, because this is the first time you could really see the contours of the chairs and all that. Especially the backs of the chairs, particularly like this shot of the back of the captain's chair, you couldn't see any of that detail before.
No, and then even the hallway approach scene,
right?
Like that was the one that I got us to go jump to afterward, and even that, everything is just excellent. Oh yeah, I at no point did it ever stand out to me, which was funny.
But that's the good thing about it is the lighting was not an issue in this episode.
No.
And so Danny, I'm going to bitch about some things. You're going to get mad at me, but I am not going to whine about the lighting in this episode.
Well, that's good,
because I think the lighting in this episode was actually pretty well done. I still would like to see, I think the biggest problem right now is that with the color choices or the color palette of the uniforms is a little too dark for the setting that they're in.
That crimson instead of or that brick red actually more than crimson. Like it just wasn't bright enough.
And so, all right. So moving on, let's go to our favorite part of the show, the hot takes. We should have like a little thing going, hot takes or something, you know. So that,
Yeah, like a little blast video.
yeah. So let's see. So Danny,
Yeah, man.
give us your hot take. What's your big thing? What do you love? What do you hate? What is that doing now?
No, he's hiding it. He's hiding it.
Oh, you are
put it away.
fired.
It is.
You know
No,
what?
I'm not.
Fired.
No, I forgot.
It's
Dude, I was late.
It's a production issue. This is a new style, having a large image. It's like,
I know.
oh, no,
like you didn't.
things
see
could
it
be
before.
seen.
You're supposed.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
I didn't
uh,
even come in proper. I wasn't even centered or blurred or anything.
I'm not blurred today, but
I'm trying to get my
I'm-
NVIDIA broadcast to work with StreamYard, but I can't seem to get it to, and it's really frustrating.
It
But
can,
anyway.
the first time it gets tricky, then once you figure it out, it's easy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let's talk about the episode here.
Yes. So this is easily my favorite episode. There was one scene that gave me I didn't cry. I welled up a little bit
I'm shocked you didn't cry. in this
hold up.
episode.
And the hairs, I didn't say I didn't cry this episode. Okay.
Okay.
I did cry at the end. But the scene in the bar got me to choke, like when they both tell each other they broke each other's hearts, like that choked me up a little bit, and the hair stood up on my arms. You know, it was a good scene. I was very, very happy to see Ro. Very happy to see Ro. That's like a 30-year story arc, and man, it's just so this episode is so good. Like I'm giving it a 9, and I don't care. Fight me, bro.
He's just jumping right to
Yeah,
the end.
yeah. I'm
And,
just
and live stream's over. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good
Take
one,
it
guys.
easy.
Peace out.
Yeah,
Let's do some
Yeah.
tech support
Don't
now.
forget the tip.
Yeah.
All right.
No, well, that's my hot take. I loved it. It was great. I mean,
All right.
I loved it.
So perfect in every way. All right. So Jason.
Well, not out of 10, but you know,
Yeah.
fuck, we're up there.
I have decided that every time Rafi's on screen, I'm watching yesterday's episode in the middle
Mhm.
from Mandalorian. I absolutely loved so much of this episode, but I am just not on Team Rafi at all. She just bugs me all the way around.
Right.
And the only reason that it's tolerable is because it's the foil for Worf, and you know Michael Dorn just punches that out every single time.
Right.
So yeah, it was an absolutely awesome episode for me, except Rafi will just always be that sandpaper, that cat that got pet backwards, you know. So yeah.
So
Other than that, my biggest gripe is the USS Proboscis showing up, because
Yeah.
I don't know what in the world was going on there. Someone was chewing on a few too many mushrooms when they drew that out.
Oh, the the Intrepid.
The Intrepid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking there.
That was a
was-
weird looking ship, but it was interesting.
weird. It was stupid. That's what it was.
Like we have
It was-
all the
okay,
secondary
so first of
hull,
all,
and
well,
then
hold on. So I want to say thank you. Area Ballet tipped $5. So thank you so much.
Super chat.
And it says, congrats on the stream, everyone. See you next time. Was another great episode of Salty and Shakers.
Thank you for that.
I love it. Salty and Shakers.
we're the Shakers.
Oh, hey,
Yes.
Chief Cooks
We're
in
the
house.
backup
What-
band.
And no,
Yeah.
Chief, this is not an open panel discussion. I appreciate you wanting to come on, but this is something that me and Danny just started as a show, and somehow we kind of adopted this stray Canadian to come on with us.
He walked by and
Yeah, we said, can we keep him? Eh?
you
All
won't
right,
run into
so-
me like a moose.
No, the Intrepid to me, it looked like a cool ship with a saggy boob hanging off the bottom. That's what it looked like to me.
I don't know about that. But...
So I don't look at that secondary hull. It makes no sense.
Oh,
Look at the shape
it's
of it.
on now.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Do you guys see what I finally got my broadcast thing to work? You'll
Okay.
see. You'll notice it.
All right. What are you trying to do? Your eyeball thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't think
We
don't
can't
worry.
hear you, Jason. We can't hear you, Jason.
Sometimes it'll make
That
it
is
look like you
super
have
creepy,
some
by
weird
the way.
condition, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's weird, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically you liked it except for when Rafi was on screen.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
What it sounds like. Yeah.
All right. So I'll say this. Was it as bad as last week? No. Last week is still so far rock bottom for me. But it's probably number 2 from the bottom right now. I think this episode has some serious issues. There are some good things in this episode, which we'll get to when we talk about stuff. But there's also some stuff that I had some very serious issues with that I think drag it down substantially. I think it's more stuff to where they're just completely ignoring the lore of Trek, that they are and flippantly so. They don't seem to care, and that's fine. But I can take it if it's a complete rebooty type show, like when we watch Strange New Worlds. It doesn't feel like this. Feels like a reboot of Trek. This is supposed to be a direct sequel to TNG, but they're changing the lore.
Well, it's a direct sequel to Nemesis, but yeah, I mean, like, what do you mean the lore?
TNG meaning the TNG era of Trek.
Okay,
this
cast,
is
yeah.
the same
Berman Trek,
characters.
if you want to put
But,
a
yeah.
person's name
So,
on it,
but
yeah.
we're like 30 years in the future. So, like, what's like, stuff changes.
Yeah, but stuff doesn't change retroactively.
Like what?
And stuff like the fact that well, we'll get to it when we get.
Okay.
I mean, this is some of the stuff that Bird was screaming about in his hour and 45-minute review of this episode, because stuff like the fact that they were freaking out about what the shapeshifters could do, even though the shapeshifters did the same thing in Deep Space Nine. Okay, so they were basically retreading old ground as if it was new. And
yeah, but when we get to it, you're gonna have to explain that to me.
Right. And then of course, and this is a fault throughout the Berman era of Trek. For some reason, I don't know what it is. Somebody send every producer in Hollywood that writes for sci-fi a dictionary that includes the definition of the word evolution, because nobody understands what that word means.
Yeah, I was talking to my mom about that. I felt like mutation would have been a better word or excuse, or even genetic experimentation. That was another one my mom and I were talking about.
But anyway, let's get into this bad boy, shall we? So let's see if we.
That looks so weird when it moves, like.
Yeah, you know what's a good time to experiment with this? Not while we're doing the live stream.
Now it's just going to be straight up distracting. Danny will be like, "Oh, those eyes of mine."
All right,
I'll turn it off.
So we start out with a shot of the bridge. Everything is relatively quiet. Shift is changing. They're working on repairing the warp core that apparently broke again. But,
I have one easy comment for that.
Well,
if you listen to what was going on in the previous episode, all they were doing was basically recharging the batteries, and then they GTFO'd, and then they had enough to get away, and that was it.
So the warp core couldn't keep the batteries charged while it was at warp? I mean, like a car charges its own battery when it's in operation.
Well, my theory is their alternator broke. So
no, their quantumator. That's it.
Quantumator.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's for me, that's easy, because the biggest thing they were going on about is they just couldn't make enough power. So they just boosted everything because they've got batteries on board. We know that's part of the lore.
But then Jack Crusher comes on the bridge and just wrecks the place, shoots everybody. And of course, shocker, it's a dream.
So yeah,
You know?
to that point, maybe they're not actually doing something to the warp core or something.
No, they are, because that's in the captain's log in a minute.
Oh,
Well, we
That's
get a
like-
really awesome shot where we see worker bees truly working.
Oh,
for the
don't.
first time.
We'll get to that again. All right.
you know,
so,
cumulatively, we should like do like those other guys do, like up and down it. See who's
oh
got
man, that would
the
be
score at the
horrible. I
end.
would just have
Yeah.
so many down votes on this.
That's terrible. That's
Our
so sad.
upvotes would at least hopefully balance it out, right, Danny?
Yeah,
Now-
yeah.
What's up with this phaser? I mean,
I don't know. It's like a rehash of a TOS.
yeah, it's like it's a TOS TNG, Frankenbaby phaser. But
Again, it is a dream. So
beautiful shot of the set right there. It gives you a nice, clean picture. But
and it's
look,
very well lit. Now that you mention,
that's what I've been saying though.
Yeah.
It is better lit in
Crazy.
this episode than any episode we have seen, and you can see the texture of the floor panel.
See that even goes to show they really were going for that Hunt for Red October, Crimson Tide feel.
Yeah,
with,
but they
you know-
didn't let us see it. That's the stupid
Well,
thing.
now we're looking at it and it's beautiful.
It is a very nice bridge.
It is cool looking, although I would say impractical.
But most bridges are. Talk to
Well,
any Navy man.
I think the TOS bridge was fairly practical. I think that the Enterprise bridge of the NX-01 is a practical bridge.
Hey, we got Gorilla's Random Thoughts in the house and Stanley. Welcome to the
Hey,
party,
guys. So I think there are good bridges and bad bridges throughout Trek, but the reason I say impractical is that when you have the three main seats there in the middle, okay, fine, but then you have steps to get down from there to the consoles, right? Now, we've seen in TNG many times that Picard or Riker, whoever will be in the captain's chair, something would happen, and then Picard or Riker, whoever, would rush up to the con to look at what they're looking at, right? They'd get up and be over their shoulder. What happens if the captain trips on those steps?
He might have a little bit of bone sticking out of his leg, like in that previous
Exactly.
episode.
Actually, not only that, but something that no one I've seen on anything has talked about. If you go back and watch that episode, he gets a wicked contusion to the back of his head.
Oh yeah,
He actually
Yeah.
clips his head on one of the stairs.
Yeah.
this is an OSHA nightmare.
Maybe there's
Okay,
like a
you've
Star
got-
Wars universe crossover going on here, and
I
the
know,
safety
and
guys
the
got
ramps-
fired.
Like the ramps on the sides make more sense, but they're too steep for a wheelchair. So what's the point? And hey, I'm learning about wheelchair ramps because newsflash, I'm going to need them, and so
Well, they're in the future. They got the hover things.
That's what I was about to say.
well, we saw in Discovery. No, we still got conventional push wheelchairs. So.
Well, see, I didn't because I didn't watch Discovery. So there
Yeah.
you go. Discovery's not canon.
Anyway, so Jack murders everybody and then wakes up, and he's like, "Oh wow, man, that was a trip." And then there's your worker bee shot.
God, look at
I
that.
love that.
Now I'll say this: beautiful ship, but those worker bees just. Ugh.
Why?
This
Those are
is the-
totally canon.
I know they're canon, but it's one of the worst retcons in Trek history. And I know that they didn't create this retcon because Discovery did. But the fact that they're running with it doesn't make me
but-
feel any better.
Because I don't have Discovery in my brain. What did I miss?
That's where the worker bees came from. Those are robots.
Yeah, but the worker bees
They're like
were-
R2 droids.
but they were in the TMP.
No.
Yeah.
In TMP?
Yeah, during the insane starship prawn that you go through with the space dock.
No, those were ships with people in them.
Oh, so what you're saying is
These
they've
are literally little robots. They're cute,
Okay, so
adorable little robots.
so instead of the ultra tiny, big enough of room for a dude, and that's it.
No, these are, you can barely see.
Okay.
It's hard to see, but look at the shape of them. They're cute little robots that repair things. They are adorable. I mean, they showed them up close in Discovery, and they roll around on the outside of the ship and fix things.
Yeah, but that's okay.
They're
I
just
mean,
so cute.
it is the 25th century. They should be able to automate it. If they're automating out the engineering department that much, then they should,
Where are you seeing these things?
they're
like,
tiny. If you look
They're very,
across
very
the top
tiny
of the
in the
nacelle,
shell.
oh, those things. Okay.
yeah, yeah. There's a whole pile of them. And as the pan on the ship comes across and you see the top of the disc,
You can see them that they're all going in a circular pattern around the ship because they're all running around fixing stuff.
Oh, hey, Sirstus, welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining us.
And I understand that there were like how R2D2's fix your X-wing. I just didn't, and the thing that bugs me is that so somehow in the course of the Kurtzman era of Trek, we've not only created this retcon where the robots do all the work, but we've completely eliminated engineers.
By the 25th century, apparently so.
Yeah, apparently there's no engineers.
But that's on this is Kurtzman had nothing to do with this show. He literally
That
had
is
nothing
not
to do
true.
with it. Yes,
I know that everybody wants to pretend that because they want to say, "Oh, Terry Matalas saved Star Trek." This is still a Kurtzman production. Kurtzman
that's it.
He's
just got his name on it. He's not.
He just has his name on all of Trek.
He's not giving.
Everybody
notes.
thinks he's doing
not
the day-to-day
writing
production on
scripts.
Trek. He's not. He doesn't do the day-to-day production.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't. Yeah.
But this is Kurtzman era Trek. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And this is a consistent part of the Kurtzman era style of Trek.
Do you just not?
I'm not blaming Kurtzman.
Want to enjoy life? I mean, really? Were you getting upset over little tiny cute robots? Come on.
It's that it's a retcon that completely ruins the idea.
How is this a retcon? We're in the future, and who said this in chat?
It's a retcon that started.
Sirstus says someone pull up the NC 1701D tech manual because they're in there.
It's a retcon that goes back to Star Trek Discovery that they started showing them there, and you know what? First of all, the tech manual is not canon. So even if it is in there, it doesn't matter. None of the tech manuals are canon. Star Trek is not Star Wars. The books aren't canon. As fun as the books are, I have the NCC 1701D tech manual. I have the original Star Trek tech manual. They're great. They're a lot of fun, but they are not canonical. And so, but if these little buzz droids were running around fixing everything, why is it that we never heard of them until Kurtzman era Trek?
Automated ones.
They're completely they are droids.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is we've seen them. Yeah, we've seen these things before, but not these things. These ultra tiny things that are used to go out with manipulators and do work.
Hi, Baz, and welcome to the chat. And yes, I agree. Picard season 3 is indeed awesome.
So I don't know. I had no issue with these whatsoever. You just don't want droids in your bar, do you?
You know what? I don't want droids in my bar. I don't want droids fixing my ship. I want Scotty or Geordi or someone like that fixing my ship, not a freaking R2 unit. It's not, and there's an even better picture of it right there. Look, you can see
wow, yeah, see, oh yeah, look at that, yeah,
they're buzzing all
on the
over
saucer
the
section,
they're
spackled.
That's a better view of it, for sure.
And it just takes away from the idea, the struggle, if you will, the human survival.
No, the humans, like, what do you expect everybody to get out in exosuits and do all that?
Yes. Did you not ever see Star Trek Enterprise? That's what they did on that show. When something broke, Reed and Trip would go out in their spacesuits and weld it back together. That's what you do.
Yeah, and something bad always happens, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's
Right.
called drama.
We got
This
enough
is the
drama in this.
opposite of drama. This is let's sit back and let the droids fix everything.
Well, that's okay because we're gonna get drama from someplace else.
Yeah, man. Come on.
Yeah, from old people sitting around a desk. All right. So speaking of old people sitting around at desks, Riker and Picard are sitting at a desk because they're just too old to stand at this point. And Seven and Shaw are there as well. And so this is the first scene of the four of them together after the big battle in the nebula and what happened with the Shrike. And of course, because of all the world-bending, earth-shaking consequences possible from what happened, and Gaslife, who said there were droids?
Hi, Gaslife.
It's all watch Star Trek. I mean, that's
So,
all they do. In
Can I say
cartoon
I really enjoyed Shaw in this scene? Like, my.
Hold on. Let me.
Quit your bitching, man. Come on. I know you're the salty Trekker, but like, can't we pepper in a little positivity?
Shaw was destroyed in the last episode, and they doubled down on it here because once again, now Shaw is once again, instead of wow, that was really something. Now look, I know you're talking about you got to face the music, but let's talk about what we just dealt with and what we're gonna have to, No, instead it's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw you guys into the fire, and I hope you burn.
That's not true at all.
That's the only
That's
thing
not
he
true at
has
all.
to say about it.
That is
yes,
not
it
true at all.
absolutely is.
No,
in
man,
fact,
because he goes.
like,
He knows.
so Seven, you want to get screwed while you're instated or uninstated. That's his.
Wow.
And then he literally says, "I'm going to leave so you can get your BS story together."
I really am surprised. I am just so surprised that you just
most disrespectful, unprofessional excuse of a captain we've ever seen in Trek. He is worse.
I love this guy. I want a show with him. I want Star Trek Titan with
I
Captain
would have
Shaw.
before they broke him last episode.
They didn't break him, man. He's great. At the end of this, if he really wanted to throw him into the fire, he wouldn't have had that little thing at the end of this episode or of this scene where he's like, I'm going to step out so the three of you can get your bullshit story straight. And then he walked out. You know what I mean? Like,
and which was an insult to them, but he just didn't want to look at them.
Nah, he's like, it's that Chicago swagger that like
I know
this
you
dude.
think it's awesome, but that's not how people in Trek talk.
Yeah, right. Me too, Patrick. I'm surprised.
Shaw prior to this episode, or prior to the last episode, I should say. When they broke him in the last episode.
I'm just going to get it all out. Every time Shaw is on the screen, opens his mouth, has an expression, it's a thumbs up.
Hell yeah.
Plus.
Yeah. No, I
every
love this
time.
Guy. Yeah,
I disagree. Because they turned him into from being a guy that really cares about his ship and his crew to just an a-hole.
That's not true. He still cares. Even later in the episode, he's like, what in turn everybody on the ship into fugitives, and that's when she tells
everybody
him,
on his ship, but he's not even concerned about the fact that his crew's on the other ship.
No, he is, because she points that out to him. Like she
has to point it out to him. He doesn't think about it. And he's just sitting there all giddy about the fact that they're going to get screwed. That's all he cares about. He just cares about the fact that he got to one-up Picard and Riker.
I disagree. I totally disagree. I didn't see. Were we watching the same episode? We watching the same episode.
Riker shows him a little bit of respect. So Riker tries to think, okay, so the things
they showed each other respect. What are you talking about?
Shaw showed them no respect whatsoever. Come on.
You are relieved, sir. I stand relieved.
Oh, he did procedure, which was fine by me, but for him to then go back and then do that walk away to go out the room, I thought, look, okay, if you even just for a moment delete the holodeck scene, this reaction fits perfectly with how he handled them when he brought them on the ship.
Yeah.
After
a whole everything that they have taken, the misadventure that they've taken them on is, I'll tell you, never happened, then he would never have gone this far. But the fact that everything went so snake eyes.
If the holodeck, here's my problem with it. This scene on its own, I wouldn't have a problem with if A, the holodeck scene didn't happen, and B, the turbolift scene didn't happen.
Oh God, the turbo.
Those scenes are what really breaks.
Where he's
it.
like, where he's Chipper. That one where he's like humming.
Yeah.
Just
I love it.
I
I loved it. Yeah.
Everything was just, I was just giggling.
Because the Chipper scene, that is really just him being a jerk just to be a jerk. That's him just so happy that these guys are going to go away in irons. At least he thinks they are.
Well, frankly, I think he's even just simply focused on they're just going to go away. This is his ship. Let's think about the tone of Captain Shaw. It's his ship. Right. I had to go and delete all of your music out of the system. I didn't want this. I want things done this way. 7 is Commander Hansen, not 7. I run my ship my way on my time. He's getting his ship back, so he thinks.
Right.
But needless to say, he's getting his ship back, and he's kicking these 2 miscreants off the bridge, or off the ship entirely. And one of them, he's got a grudge that he couldn't get over on. And the other guy, he's just like, well, you're the fool that decided to come around with, old fake man here.
But you know what? But the humming was over the top. If he was on the elevator and he just wasn't saying anything, and say Riker was like, "Do you have anything to say, Captain?" He goes, and he said something like, "No, I'm just glad to get rid of you 2 a-holes." If he said something like that, I would have been fine. But
actually, what would have been funnier? This is terrible because it's a bit of a Barry. But what would have been funnier is if he started humming Blue Skies.
But and the problem is that up until the Borg freakout scene, I really did like him to Captain Jellicoe, and I really, really liked him because everything he did was by the book, and everything he did was for the protection of his ship and his crew. Now he seems more petty. Now he seems to me like someone who just hates Riker and Picard, not someone who really cares about the Titan and her crew as much as he cares about, getting rid of Riker and Picard. And I hope that, his arc continues in a positive direction, but that's where I'm at right now. I'm still leaving room for Shaw to improve. But I mean, it's going to take a little bit for me to get past that whole Borg freakout scene.
Well, and see, I think when we get to the end, we'll talk about it more, but I think the way this episode wraps actually is the moment where perhaps Shaw's character will come out as, well, golly gee willikers, I don't just, get to win because I'm doing everything the way I want / by the book.
Right.
Well,
yeah, I'm hoping that, obviously they're going to have to work together.
Yeah.
Because, what they know by the end of this episode. So I'm hoping that will change Shaw for the better. And, I would like to see by the end of this series, like Shaw on one ship, Riker on another ship, Picard on another ship, working together to try and defeat whatever the big bad is. Because Shaw, I think,
fascinating,
should be a brilliant captain. But, I also, and this is another thing that kind of bugs me. There's been no repercussion of him basically losing the respect of his crew on the holodeck.
He didn't lose the respect of his crew.
Yes, he did.
No, see, that was another thing we disagreed on. So, I mean, it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
okay.
I know you're not. I know you're not the only one.
People on the holodeck there lost respect for him.
I don't.
I didn't see that.
I just think
saw them
they
like
were shocked that
like
he would be that way. I don't know that necessarily means they lost respect, because again, we've got so little development going on in the back end. We have no idea what the tone and tempo of that ship is outside of, Riker and Picard hijacking it.
Right.
We
you do get the feeling that Shaw ran it by the book. Sure. And we know that 7 hated working under him, but mainly because she had to use her human name. How horrible!
Well, he's a Borgist, like we know that.
Which is and that's just stupid. And thank you, Ensign Ricky,
Super Chat,
who thinks it's an amazing episode. So glad that Shaw called out Picard on the Prime Directive for sending Riker and Data to kidnap the delegate at Farpoint.
I love that whole elevator scene, man. When they're like,
actually,
"Those were the days."
he called out Picard for throwing out the Prime Directive for, as he said, snogging the woman on the Baku planet, which
That was the second thing he said.
was not a violation of the Prime
Don't
Directive.
you usually have captions? I thought you had
No,
captions.
we don't.
No? Okay.
But that was not a violation of the Prime Directive. And so I thought that was interesting. Because the Baku were not a native species and they were warp capable. So there was no violation of the Prime Directive in that movie.
Yeah, by that time it was known, so it was more just him being grumbly.
Yeah. And so I do think that the whole thing about what was it Bird was saying in his mega rant about the fact that how did he know about the paradoxical existence of a universe where everything ended because of them when that universe doesn't exist?
Because it was reported in logs. It was given to Starfleet, and
so he reads every log.
Not everything, but you know what? He probably, has taken.
That sounds like something from a tabloid. Did you know there's a parallel universe in which you don't exist?
Well, it would lean into the fact that he really has a hate on for Picard.
Yeah, he does seem to have a major hate boner going.
Yeah, like he's living rent free in Shaw's head.
Yeah. I love the elevator scene. We just need to.
Look at the look.
This is where he's
like,
right, "I'm going to get out of here so you can work your bullshit out." I love it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah.
So then Picard has a little talk with Beverly and Jack. They're trying to figure out, what's going on. All right. And by the way, Jack is growing on me. I do like him.
Oh yeah.
I got to say, solid actor.
Although I got to say, 23, he is not. That's they need to stop trying to say he's so young.
Nah, I know, but that's a problem that you have in casting. You could find someone that otherwise
he's got
fits.
like crow's feet and all that. It's like, yeah, sure. And by the way, here's another great shot. Look at the corridor behind him. Such a beautifully lit shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way it should have looked from the beginning.
Jesus Christ.
And what? That's a compliment. Why you're mad at me for giving a compliment?
I'm not mad, dude. Do you see the big smile on my face? Like this is funny.
I think I find it amusing. So juxtaposed. It's like Shaw can rot in hell, and meanwhile, this hallway is so beautiful.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry that I can actually look at both sides of this. I enjoyed the episode in parts, and I didn't enjoy other parts. So,
hey, Ensign Ricky, welcome.
Ensign Ricky with another $2.
Super chat.
The season definitely keeps you on the edge. Yeah, it made me want to jump off the edge of a building last week, but
that's terrible. God, you're just God.
But thank you, Hudson Ricky. I do truly appreciate it, buddy. Keeping the lights on around here. What are you doing, you crazy dog? All right. So nice shot of the ceiling there, in case you ever wanted to know what the ceiling inside a starship looks like.
Oh, this is the clip from that they
Oh yeah, this is Rafi and Worf. So we cut to Rafi and Worf doing their play fight
arena.
And okay. I'll shut up for a minute. Jason, what do you think of this?
Okay, what I think is that so from one perspective, just the whole fighting scene, writers need to get over the fact that if someone the size of Michael Dorn just walks through the person who's, I don't know her name, who plays Rafi, it's just going to happen. And he's a Klingon, which makes him even tougher, stronger, denser. Like, as far as that goes, this kind of stuff is getting a little on the tiring side.
I don't know. I
Although
loved when he did that one-handed thing and they played the Klingon theme song.
Yeah, but that's really the
yeah.
only time. That's his real effort level right there.
Yeah, like he's just not even trying. It's
He,
just
he,
like,
yeah, he looked like he wasn't even trying. Yeah, he was
yeah,
just like,
yeah. But in the way this plays out, because the rest of this, as much as Rafi drives me around the bend, the way they played this out was that you had them practice fighting so that she can just get trained up in general, and then they end up going into the fight. So the almost fourth wall breaking narrative that's happening here is that the writers were like, yeah, there's no way that she could ever beat Worf, because now look, he's just down on his knees and it's like fighting someone who's a jujitsu master. It's like, good luck, you touch the guy, he's gonna eat you for breakfast.
right.
And then when we get down on the planet and we get down into that whole business with, here's 2 knives, you guys have to work it out, and if nobody does anything, I'm going to just shoot the both of you. She miraculously wins.
That was planned.
Oh,
So-
at that.
Oh, you think?
That's why. But that's why. But that's why I think this whole bit was done here. Like, if it wasn't, if we didn't have these multiple components to the hand-to-hand combat, like this was kind of a wink and a nod to like, yeah, there's just bloody no way this is ever
Yeah, yeah.
because she's a
Yeah.
human. To top it all off, it's like she's human and he's Klingon.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's
forget
Worf.
about if it was,
And he's a
and
badass.
he's
Yeah.
Worf, and he's been trained and he's killed loads of everybody. Good luck. and you know, Klingons live way longer, so yeah, he might have a white beard, but he's only middle age here.
Right. I mean, if you
So-
saw Kang, Koloth, and Kor, they were killing people well into their look like close to
200.
200 years old.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, have fun with that. And yeah, so otherwise, yeah, I didn't mind it, and I did like the fact that when they did have her look like she was starting to get ahead, it was because she was using proper power moves, like like when she kicked him and then he went back. Like, that's smart, because you got to use the most power that you have, and that's where you can find it.
We are being pretty smart though. We got 33 people watching, only 17 likes. Hey, everybody can hit the like button, because if you don't like the show, well, you can like it because neither does he. But if you do like the show, you can like it because the two of us do. So it's a win-win.
You're giving people the wrong impression.
No,
Because
no,
I'm
you're
ragging
doing that,
on-
buddy. You're doing that all on your own. It's
Just
all
because
good.
I'm ragging on things I don't like doesn't mean I hate the show. But we'll,
So yeah, so outside of that, this is all fine. I again, like anything with Rafi where they've got her, I don't know if it's the writing, I don't know if it's the directing.
oh,
for
I can
her,
tell you
don't
about
know
the
if it's
writing.
her.
I'll tell you about the writing when we get to the right scene.
There's just everything about this character. She bugged me in season 1. I'm glad I never watched season 2, and she just drives me crazy. Like, I
like, again, maybe
don't
it's
know.
because I watch so much wrestling and I've conditioned my brain to suspend disbelief. But I really just, I have practically deleted all of 1 and 2 from my memory. The only time it creeps back in is when these idiots bring it up.
I'm sorry.
What? I mean, I wish, no, not you guys. I mean, the show.
These guys, yeah.
Because you know, they didn't need to reference Picard being synthetic twice. That was just like, well, god damn, I forgot all about that. Why did you bring it up?
Yeah, I
All
know.
right, so let's move on. We're gonna drop down a rabbit hole. So then they get a call from Worf's handler, and of course they are denied access to Daystrom Station, not the Daystrom Institute, mind
The
you.
station.
Daystrom Station.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's new. We've never heard of this thing.
Yeah,
before.
this is something brand new. It has nothing to do with the Daystrom Institute, which is where Dr. Daystrom was from, and where we saw Lore's, or not Lore, but B4's parts stored. That's
Yes,
the
yeah.
Daystrom Institute. This is
Yeah.
Daystrom Station, something
Where she-
totally new.
Yeah, no, well, she explained it, and I like that she did. And I feel like this is where that station is where we're going to have Lore and where we're going to have Moriarty.
Yes,
because-
but it's
yeah.
also why the writing in the show is incredibly lazy.
I disagree
In
wholeheartedly.
what okay.
This is okay. So everything having to do with Worf and Rafi, I'll get into this right now. This is CIS Metalis.
or CSI, yeah.
CSI, yeah, CSI Metalis. That's all this is. By the
CIS.
number.
What are you going to be? One of these
CSI.
wokesters? Am I
Sorry,
supposed to
dude,
introduce
I am
myself
dyslexic.
as a cis?
No.
I am
Now,
dyslexic,
he
so
means,
I'm sorry,
he
I'm
means
not-
Law and Order.
yeah.
I got you. Yeah,
Yeah.
SBU.
Oh, crime scene
Yeah.
investigators. That's
Yeah.
but the CSI Metalis, because that's the planet they're on. Where don't you go away? No,
I'm here. I'm blowing
Yeah,
my
well,
nose.
let's fix your nose before the show. You better be blowing it because we saw what was on your desk before the show, so you better not be touching that. Get back.
I am
on
not.
camera.
Look. First of all, I am not. Second
Okay.
of all, maybe
Well, I
you
don't
should
trust
try
you because
some.
you had it on
Maybe
your
you
desk.
should try some. You know, because
You know what? It's not legal here. So
you're way
shut
too
up.
uptight about things, man. Just
No,
enjoy the
you know
show.
what? I'm
God,
trying
it's
to
so
do
good.
I'm trying to do show properly, and you're trying to ruin it. So you know.
No, I'm
that's-
not. Okay, here. You know what? Fine. That ruined your show. Not me turning the damn camera
Anyway,
off so I can blow my.
Will you let
freaking
me
nose.
finish my point?
Yeah.
All right.
So CSI Metalis, because if you cut out just the Worf Rafi scenes and splice that together, you will get a by the numbers CSI episode. They get a clue, they investigate it, it doesn't pan out. But then out of someone's butt, they get another clue. They investigate it. It doesn't pan out. Then out of someone's butt, they get another clue. They investigate it until they finally go to wherever the actual thing is going on. And that's where the climax of the story takes place. Daystrom Institute. So this is a by the numbers CSI episode, or NCIS actually. And guess who owns NCIS? CBS.
Patrick's
Same
got the
writers.
best point. It's Navy, so it's actually NCIS.
But NCIS is a CBS franchise.
Yeah,
They're trying to
Who
do
gives a
NCIS.
Oh my God! You're
He's
starting to
going
You're
down.
starting to damage my calm, man. You really
Well, I
messing with
don't
my
care.
zen.
Mellow.
Yeah.
This isn't about whatever brand of calm you smoke. This is about
No, I'm not even.
problem
No,
is
this
the
is not.
writing here is incredible. This is all they did was they borrowed a script from NCIS and they said, okay, but instead of a crack dealer and a dirty bomb, let's make it a quantum tunneling device and some weird, drug that you inject through your eyeball. I mean, that's all they did. And so they're just all they're doing is changing the setting to Star Trek, but it is a by the numbers police
Alex Moore,
procedural.
welcome, but don't let him poison your brain. If you enjoyed it, enjoy it. And first
Tell
of all,
me
I
I'm
just don't-
wrong.
I can't tell you you're wrong because I've never seen any of these other shows you're talking about because it's just not in my wheelhouse. One and two, there's no telling you you're wrong
Yeah,
because
you
even when
have
you're
Paramount
wrong, you're
Plus,
right.
right?
But you know what I'd like? Okay,
No, wait, you
you've
have
done like
Paramount Plus.
80% of the talking here, and you won't even let me turn off my camera to blow my freaking nose. So no, you need to let me talk now,
You know the
pal.
reason for that.
You need to let me talk now.
All right. So tell me why I'm wrong.
I'm not going to do that. Let's go to the next scene.
Okay. Well, Jason,
skip ahead a little bit.
Have you seen
ahead
any
a little
of these
bit.
shows? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Since he doesn't.
It's sort of there, but the problem is I think the B plot for this is being written to the maximum capability of the actress.
Did you guys see the sneak preview for next week?
No,
Nope,
not yet.
I have not.
Oh, you haven't. So it's Worf and Rafi briefing, like they're in a conference room with Shaw and Seven and Riker and Picard, and they're sitting at the table. And
So the
these
gang all
two-
gets together finally.
and these two are standing up, like briefing them on, why they have to go to, because now they have the little hack device that we haven't even got to because you want to nitpick about so much dumb shit. It drives me nuts. So they're planning on breaking into. That's the scene they show.
but
is
let
when
me
they're
say
planning
this.
to break into the station,
At least on this stream, we don't all agree.
right?
All right. So we're giving our honest opinions on it. And yeah, we
Well,
don't
I know,
all
but
have the same
some
opinion.
of
And
the
that's
stuff-
a good thing.
That is a good thing, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
If we get an episode where they start hacking the computer with 2 people at one keyboard, I'll agree. Yeah, it's coming, Patrick. It's coming. You just wait. And they're going to hack their way into something. And they are already actually, hold on a second. Ensign Ricky, thank you. No amount of writing can make me like Rafi. I agree with you there, too. Thank you, Ensign Ricky, for another super chat, Danny.
He did.
I did it. Super chat.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
You went right over it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
apologize.
just like, yeah. Are you on some Ritalin or something today?
Because he needs more Patrick up here. He's like, I don't know.
I do. But no. But here's the funny thing about Patrick's comment. What do they end up getting from the Vulcan at the end? The hacking device.
So I was watching this with LDG, and even though he doesn't like it either, I found it much more fun to talk to him because he was we were pointing things out, and we were like disagreeing on things, but then finding common ground on things. So I really want to like we get stuck on like if we're gonna do this still frame in this scene, like skip it ahead a couple seconds. I'm tired of looking at her say talk to the hand. You know,
just because you don't like her, that's your problem.
No, right. You guys don't like her. I like her just fine.
Yeah. So this is where this flash shot to the party and stuff is the perfect example. So Klingons have redundant body parts. We learned that a long time ago, which is of course why the stupidity of Star Trek Discovery, Klingons had 2 members.
Proboscis is
yes. But
is that whoa what? That's in that's I always thought people were joking.
Yes, it is canon. Klingons have 2.
Was there a line of dialogue that
no, you actually see a Klingon peeing against a wall.
Do you really?
Yes.
That's disgusting. They showed that.
Disco just needs to be deleted.
Yeah. That's what.
Anyway, the less we talk about that, the better. However, this is the perfect thing because this is right out of an NCIS episode. Oh no, what do we do? Sneed was the answer. Yeah, you're right. Sneed was the answer. But I know another guy. Right. And so this is like I said, Klingons have redundant organs. Well, apparently what he did was he pulled out of his other butt another clue. Because if he knew, he knows Sneed was the guy that was the facilitator, but then magically he knows this other guy is the facilitator for the facilitator. So now they're going to go after him. Why didn't they just go after him the first time since they knew he was the big boss?
I shall just call him Worf, son of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's on his quest.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. The writing for this stuff, the Worf Rafi stuff, to me is horrible. But then we get back to space. Thank the Lord. Now this is a nice shot of the ugly ship. But you see, if you cut off the saggy boob part, that would be a nice.
It doesn't look like a saggy boob. If anything, it looks like the ship's got an erection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I call it the Proboscis, the USS Proboscis.
Yeah. But if you just cut that off, this is a cool ship.
Yeah.
But that
I don't know
secondary hull makes no sense.
There's been some really bizarre kit bashes in the history of Star Trek, but this is kind of, I don't know. It's like someone was doing whatever they were doing on their workstation in Blender or wherever they were building this, and then
what they were doing? They found Danny's bong, and then they were like, "Hey, I got an idea."
Actually, it almost shaped like one if you turn it.
Yeah,
the
this
right
is
angle.
the USS Bong Water.
Oh dear, that's terrible.
On the bright side, it does make the Titan look even better.
Yes.
I mean, look at that. And this is
there you go. That's a there you go. That's a good. Yeah, looks like it's got a boner. That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like.
I guess you're right.
Everybody.
Hey, if this ship has a boner, and the Titan just came out of a space vagina.
Oh God.
Oh no. What have you done, Danny?
Hey, Michael, you've got welcome to the party.
SBS
so Guru 2000 super chat.
They should have retrieved Sneed's severed head, hooked it up to a necromancy machine to temporarily revive him. He'd be in pain the entire time.
Oh,
that would be
dear.
better than what they ended up doing.
No, man, I
agree.
love the guy that played the Vulcan gangster. I love the points he made.
Oh
like,
no, we're gonna get into the Vulcan gangster thing.
oh, man.
That was, you know what? Yeah, we'll just move on. All right, so there's a nice shot. You see from this angle,
Yeah,
the Intrepid doesn't look too bad,
right.
Yeah, it
but
looks
that's
pretty
because
good,
you
yeah.
can't tell the droopy, hang forward weirdness.
Yeah.
You know, it's just bizarre.
Your disembodied voice is going.
Yeah, sorry.
The entire time.
But the so the Intrepid is ordering them to basically power down, and you know, and Shaw looks a little confused, and they're like, dude, you know, you don't get it, this is bad. And they're saying security's going to come over on a shuttle, which is also confusing to Shaw. And I was wondering if this is supposed to be a member berry back to the fact that McCoy doesn't like to use transporters.
No, not at all. This is explained.
No.
because-
I know they explain it in the story, but I'm saying that the reason for it outside of the story.
No,
because
think about it, because they don't even, maybe you didn't realize this. So who was the one?
because remember McCoy took
who
a
was
shuttle in Farpoint. Sorry.
Yes. Who was the one? The one changeling aboard the Titan. What was his position?
He was
Transporter chief.
Yeah.
And Ro, who's about to make her appearance.
Right. She said something about the transporter.
Yeah, she doesn't trust the transporters because it'd be way too easy for a transporter chief to kill somebody and it be untraceable, and then a changeling replace the person that they killed, which is probably why they use the transporter chief first. You know,
that would make sense. That would be the opportune time to do it. But if they're going to do it that way, which, by the way, that would be a clever plot. If the plot was they kill a person mid beaming and then replace him with a changeling, then that would make perfect sense. But
to me, that's the implication, and that's why Ro doesn't want to. But
right. But why is Foster's body rotting in his closet?
Yeah, but for me,
maybe they, you know, I don't know.
Forgot that
I didn't see it as a berry, and the fact is we've seen how fast these things can change into looking like somebody else.
Right.
So basically, she just doesn't have any trust for anything that, you know, is a murder machine by default anyway.
I love this part. Yeah, like, because Riker, like, you know, we have saved the galaxy a few times. He was like, yeah. He was like, and then Picard's like, yeah, hopefully they remember that. And then he's like, well, maybe they'll remember that time you crashed the saucer section of Enterprise D. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he's like,
well,
I'm just
that's the thing. I think Shaw, you know, I just, like I said, I didn't like. If Shaw was just saying, I'm just glad to get rid of you two guys, and then they actually had the same conversation about the court martial, I would have been fine with it. The humming and the giddiness, I
loved it.
I can tell.
Yeah.
But to me, that was just, they're trying to make Shaw into a complete a-hole. And I'd rather have Shaw just be a good captain than a complete a-hole, because I want Shaw to be a heroic character.
He's an endearing a-hole, and he's still
he's not an endearing a-hole. He's just an a-hole.
I mean,
I don't
like
know.
him.
He's endearing the crap out of the two of us. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him better. You know, if you consider that Riker and Picard stole a starship, he's right to want them prosecuted,
or at least off his ship.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he thinks he's
getting his ship back. He's just getting his ship back.
He's out of his hair. They're out of his hair, I should say. Like,
because right now he doesn't know what's about to happen. He's like, all he's thinking is like, I'm gonna get these old effers off of my ship.
I will say this: he's still my favorite character on the show. I mean, even though I'm mad about what they did with him, he is still my favorite character. Shaw.
He just wants to go back to eating green steak. He just wants these guys off his boat.
Yeah.
All right, so they come on
Those
out.
were the
and-
days.
Oh no, it's Commander Memberberry.
Nope, I'll fight ya.
No, dude, this was great. This
She
was
is a living
great.
Memberberry. Okay,
Dude,
no,
let's hear the
this
let's
is
hear the fight, Jason.
conclusion of a 30-year story arc that everybody wanted to see.
I
That's a fan of
watched
TNG.
that episode today. That is BS, but continue.
Wow. Okay, man.
No, I don't know. There's no. We had our loving of the show in the morning, Danny, and then I had my quick discussions with Mike in the late afternoon. It was like, we're gonna have an episode today. To talk
Yeah.
no, there's just
fight me though on
definitely
the,
nerd
on the
fight.
Memberberry thing. Why do you think this is not a Memberberry?
because she
This is a Roddenberry. This moves
she-
the story forward, you know?
Yeah. She is a legitimate character to dig back up. And I know you don't, I know you totally don't agree with that. I
Right.
already know exactly why you don't agree with it, but I
You
don't have
know what I'm
any
gonna
issue.
say.
Springtime, welcome to the party. And I've been saying that these last 5 weeks. Definitely.
I would watch
The,
a Titan series. I absolutely
Oh
would.
yeah. So yeah, I completely have zero issue with how they shoehorn her into this. She is an excellent character. She is an excellent actress. I absolutely love her in Battlestar Galactica. Danny, you have to start watching that show.
We're going to watch that as a team. We'll have
That
to.
is a
We'll create a
freaking
Galactica series after things settle
She
down.
is so badass in that show.
She is.
And yeah, she just, for me, yeah, like I like, you'd have to get absolutely completely contrived to make me not like how they have her in here. I just
Dude,
I
love
think it is
everything.
too contrived.
No,
I-
I love
that- yeah,
everything
I'm-
about this. And I also love how Picard, I don't know how you guys felt, but I was kind of like, I was on Picard's like, oh wow, is she a changeling? Maybe she's a changeling. Like, oh my God, she's a changeling. So that's why that scene in the bar I thought was just so good. You know what I
well,
mean?
see, for me, I didn't
Oh.
think she was at this point. Now, remember when I was basically
No,
messaging you live while I was watching the episode this
yeah,
morning?
yeah.
So when we get just a little bit past this, I made a comment to Danny. I said, man, they're turning this entire ship into an episode of the movie The Thing,
The Thing, yeah,
because
Yeah.
nobody knows who anybody is.
yeah.
But the problem is they did it on Deep Space Nine already. And I think they did it better on Deep Space Nine. And they also kind of forgot about what happened on Deep Space Nine in this. And that's and I know that's what got Bird of Prey so mad.
But
is-
maybe that is a natural thing to do. I mean, remember, we've criticized, look, Lore has made videos about this. We've talked about this on general open live streams. Many other channels have talked about the cocky arrogance of the golden age of Starfleet, and they build their ships dumb.
Right.
And they do things dumb. It's 30 years after the Dominion War. Maybe they're
Yeah.
just
Right.
getting lazy again.
To where all this, well, no, but they're saying, okay, let's. Okay, first of all, let me-
Greg Klein, welcome. And that question was
Hey.
posed to me earlier, and I think
just
it's
a
because
different
she's-
uniform. She's just wearing
well,
a different.
She's
standard
Starfleet
uniform.
Intelligence. She's a
Yeah.
commander for Starfleet Intelligence.
Right, but I
So-
mean, just that she's just wearing a different. She's wearing a Starfleet regulation uniform, but it's a different variant than what the other people are wearing. That's
Yeah, what everybody else is for the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah.
It's just like when you see Kirk in his green wrap as opposed to the gold. I mean, it's you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I say she's a Memberberry is because no, I don't think she has any business being a Starfleet officer. She was a traitor to the Federation the last time we saw her. Literally, I'm not saying that because she's a traitor because no, she literally was a traitor to the Federation.
Yeah, but they address that
and
in this episode.
She is
though.
a desert.
A
She's a
lot.
deserter. She's a deserter from Starfleet,
Yeah.
and there is no way in heck they are going to take her. And they might take her put her in prison for a few years and on good behavior let her go as a Federation citizen, but they are certainly not going to make her a commander in Starfleet intelligence.
No,
that is not going to
Oh
happen.
my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, he's just not. But yeah, you and I are on team
then-
bro, and
Then
and
she
he's
just
on team no.
happens to be.
Yeah.
Then she just happens to be the one person in charge of the investigation. That the only person
She's Worf's handler.
She
who's
happens
Raffi's
to be
handler? I
Worf's
love it.
handler,
I
who
love this.
and happens to bump into Picard, and happens to. I mean, this is way too many coincidences on something that's already nearly impossible.
I wholeheartedly disagree. Like the explanation she gives.
Really? So you
Picard-
think that like after Benedict Arnold betrayed the United States, we should take him back and reinstate him in the military?
No, because it's totally different. You said yourself you just watched the episode. She had no malicious intent. She even talks
She
about it
pointed
later
a
in the bar.
phaser
She-
at her XO.
Yeah, she did. In Riker or in Picard even brings that up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, last time you saw her, she was pointing a phaser at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched the episode to confirm that was true, and it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that scene's burned into my skull forever. 'Cause
Right.
I was so sad when she went bad in that episode. So
And by the
wish
way,
this
being
actress had-
commander in intelligence, when her one and only intelligence mission, she became a sympathizer to the enemy and deserted. No, you don't put a person like that in intelligence because she's obviously not suited for it.
Are you the same person you were 30 years ago, man?
You know what? I understand that people change over 30 years, but you also have to understand there are repercussions for your actions. And if you're in the military and you go in as an say you're an undercover cop, and as
You
an
know,
undercover
we can agree to
hold
disagree.
on. Let me finish this. You're an undercover cop, and as an undercover cop, you're supposed to infiltrate some organized crime, but you go bad and you end up becoming a part of the organized crime, and then you get
That's
busted. Hold on.
That is
Then
not comparable.
This is exactly what
That is-
happened.
no,
Then
it's
you get
not
busted.
comparable. It is not comparable. It is not comparable.
Then you get
The- it-
busted. You go to prison.
Okay, so
and
do you
then
have a
wanna be
problem? You have a
cop
problem with
again.
Chakotay? You have a problem with Chakotay? You have a problem with?
I
the fact that-
absolutely have a problem with Chakotay being instated in Starfleet after the Voyager mission. Yes, I do.
Well, then you know what, man. I never had. So yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah,
please.
let's just
get
keep
to-
on going.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
There's
All
no
right.
change in your mind if you.
So
like,
so
if you have
so
a problem with
discounting the dislike of bringing in
Oh,
Ro.
now, okay, so let me say this. Aside from the fact that I think she's purely there as a member berry,
Chakotay. Oh my god.
Just
dude,
keep going.
calm down.
Just- no, he's fine.
the
Just keep going.
the scene with her and Picard in the bar was absolute gold. All right, I will say that I like that scene a lot. I like the tension with her and Picard and her and Riker. I think her performance throughout the episode was really, really solid. She was the glue for this episode. There were a couple of dumb things that happened, but
Hello,
I
Bradley
really
Briggs.
liked
Welcome.
her throughout the episode.
Welcome to the fight. Hey, man, we're doing awesome. 40 people watching us right now. Come on, smash that like button for us. Come on, we only got 26 likes. Let's do this.
And yes, Gasloff, I know she spent time in prison, but that's what I'm saying. If a cop goes bad and then they go to prison, then they get out, you're not going to make them a cop again.
No, but
It
she didn't
doesn't
get
mean that-
out.
yeah, you
She said
could-
while she was in prison, they came to her and said, "Hey, because you have this certain set of skills, and basically
Right.
suicide
What set of
squatter,
skills?
suicide
She failed
squatter."
at her only mission.
I don't know. We're never. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's changing
That's my
minds on this
problem.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So let's move on.
That's
Let's-
the problem. She went on one mission and failed. She doesn't have a
All right.
set of skills. She has a.
Here's what I'm going to do.
singular
I'm going to
failure.
smoke a cigarette, and by the time I get back, I guarantee you he's still going to be bitching about this.
Whatever. You just don't like that I'm right. All right. So she. You better just be smoking a cigarette. By the way, if you're smoking something else, this is.
Cigarette.
You can't hear you.
I want to be completely lucid and sober when
Yeah,
I
we'll see.
argue with you over this, because there are some scenes we're going to get to where I've been letting you get your petty BS off your chest, but like there's some stuff here is not going to fly, and I want all my wits about me. So
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah.
All right. So meanwhile, Seven is trying to hide Jack because that's going to work. I mean, if
Okay,
assume,
a civvy in civvies
granted, he
is
stands out more.
going to stand out a whole lot more.
I agree with
Bird,
that.
I
him in
was
a
worried
uniform-
for Bird's health when he started up on this.
Oh yeah,
but
Bird went over the
honestly-
top. Bird definitely went over the top.
But honestly, like, yeah, you put a guy in a Starfleet uniform and you get him walking around, and you're looking for a guy in civvies. Yeah,
he,
no,
he
he's-
kind of blends in, and plus the ship's got hundreds of people on
It
it.
has 500 people, but
yeah.
but here's my problem is that, and I thought you were going out to smoke.
I was going to go out to smoke, but
Go
damn it!
smoke
Then you
your
started.
cigarette
Well,
then.
no,
Shut
then you
up.
start. No, the whole point was,
Yeah, then we
you're gonna
jumped
keep
to
bitching
talking-
about
Go
Roe,
smoke your-
and
go
then you
smoke
start
your freaking
actually
cigarette.
moving.
Go
No.
smoke your freaking cigarette. If that's what you got to do, if you're that hung up for your nicotine, go smoke your cigarette. Oh, so he's putting us on the phone.
Hey, cool. There's his time
So,
travel.
so I can at least listen to your BS and take notes while I smoke. I wish I had a wireless headset like LDG. I need to get one.
Talk to LDG and get one.
I have. You were supposed to send me a link, bro. I see you in the chat. Where's that link? I'll be back.
All right, so
So, yeah, I didn't
I
have any
agree
issue
that
with
okay,
that.
I agree that's a little bit of camouflage. The problem is that now Picard, the writing isn't all that smart, but the way that I'd be thinking about it is okay, everybody's after Jack for some reason. All right, we don't know why, but everybody seems to be focused on finding Jack. And we have an entire security force on the ship looking for Jack, holding iPads with pictures of Jack and beaming everybody off of the Titan, which means they're going to find him. Just putting him in a uniform is not going to hide him. Now it'll delay them finding him a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
that's where we run into a problem.
I don't think there was any expectation that they were going to keep him hidden. I just think that this was like a bit of a shell game. They were just trying to delay the inevitable as long as they could till they could figure out what their next good move was going to be. Especially considering, it's Roe that's there. So there's a degree of, maybe this isn't going to go quite the way that we're expecting it to, like in the minds of Picard and Riker.
Right.
So I'm fine with that. And any kind of headcanified thing that I think about, if I don't have to jump through 14 hoops to make it happen, I've got no issue with it being in there.
Right. Well, so yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with them putting Jack in a uniform. I just don't think that in and of itself is hiding him. I think they needed to do, like, it should have been something like, okay, we're going to put you in a uniform and then we're going to hide you in the engineering section because nobody works in engineering. And the scan because of the warp core or something.
The fault in their plan is they don't know that Jack is well aware that he's losing his mind.
Right.
And that he's now actually wandering.
Yeah.
He's like day walking. So
he's a little crazy.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the alien autopsy, which, by the way, and I guess we missed it when it happened, but let me rewind for just a second so that while he's listening, we can get Danny mad at me again. So just after Riker gives the command codes back to Shaw, and then Shaw tells everybody to get their BS together and leaves the room, then Dr. Crusher asks Picard for permission to do an autopsy on the changeling, and Picard grants permission. How?
I was mildly confused by that, but I don't think that.
Yeah, he has no authority to do so.
No, but I've got the one thing that I'll give that scene is that Crusher maybe was so into whatever was going on down in medical that she was in no way fully up to speed as to exactly what was going on. So she just she would presume that if Riker had still was in command of the ship, that anything that Picard said would basically be as good as gold anyway.
Right.
So maybe that would be the connection. And she didn't realize or didn't know that Riker had already handed command back to Shaw. So,
And the thing
and
is,
like I say, I don't
it's-
have any issue with that because she was out of scene, so she has no idea.
I'm not saying it was a major issue, but like I think a simple fix, like if you were doing a little bit smarter writing, if I were given a pass on the script, you change it so that, you know, Picard would say something like, well, technically Shaw is in command again, but find out whatever you can, any way you can.
Now, you
And
know, the
then-
weird thing that could have happened, though, is they could have shot this and intended it to be in a different order, and then it ended up getting shuffled around.
And so they had to do that as a reshoot.
And then,
No,
and then,
no.
and then it got left in because they couldn't do a reshoot, and it
Yeah.
got left that way. And it
Oh, like
felt-
she asked permission before he gave.
yeah.
That could be.
Was it so
Yeah,
much asking,
so-
like?
Yeah,
I didn't
Crusher
have any
literally
issue-
asked for permission to do the.
Well,
to
then,
do
okay.
Cameron's
So
body.
by that same token, you probably were one of the people that were like, oh, how did Picard invoke his admiral authority to take over the ship? You know,
Well, we talked about that last.
he still obviously has, until he's court-martialed or found guilty or stripped of his rank, he's still an admiral, and,
No, he's not.
Riker
He's
and
retired.
Riker is still a captain. That's why Riker was able to say belay that
Riker is
order.
the captain, but Picard is not an active admiral.
Thank
he-
you, LDG.
He is retired.
So, well,
Okay,
either way,
well, they've already
it felt-
established that
he has no actual authority.
Well,
Yeah,
they've
it
already
felt weird,
established
but I
that he
didn't-
does because of that scene in the first.
Yeah,
or
and
second episode.
I think all of his authority is a projection of Riker.
Yeah, when
Personally.
when he was yelling admiral's orders, he was just hoping that his reputation would speak enough, and you know, honestly, it did in that instance. But you know, it's how far can they take it? I don't know. So then she and Dr. Trill start doing the alien autopsy. They find that, oh wow, these shapeshifters can do stuff that
Seemingly fake
shapeshifters
blood. Yeah.
well, they were able to fake blood in Deep Space Nine, which again is one of the problems because if they could,
But there's a difference here. In
well, I know it's a different
DS9
way. They didn't fake it within their cells. They've actually stored blood inside themselves and all that.
Yeah, something
But-
else is going on here.
Oh yeah, this is definitely something different. My point though is that when she's like, these shapeshifters could pass a blood test, that's nothing new. That's like saying, you know, because shapeshifters have been passing blood tests since since Martok.
There's a key part of her statement, though. There's no genetic material, but this is blood plasma, so it would pass a regular blood panel.
Right.
That's different.
Which also
When
doesn't
they
make
were-
sense.
when they were faking things in DS9,
They were actually just
they were
storing blood.
stealing blood
Yes.
and using people's blood.
Yeah.
So now you have, because there is DNA in regular blood.
Right, but they don't have DNA.
No,
And-
exactly. So
but-
it
but
is.
you
It's
see,
it's
the
all these
problem,
little
though-
details that start to add up that do matter. Which
But some of these details are conflicting because, okay, for example, if you scan someone and they have no DNA, then red flag, they're a changeling.
but they're not doing a DNA scan. They're doing just
But
a
you know
blood
what?
check in a
In
lot of these
TNG,
cases.
a million times, or in Voyager, they just go, oh yeah, your DNA shows blah 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 blah. It's not like it's an invasive.
Dude, it's like when
procedure.
you got to be looking for it. Okay. Like, here's a great example. Okay. Let's say I go to get a job and I have to provide like a urine sample,
Mhm.
and they're only looking for specific things. They're not going to find something they're not looking for. You know what I
Right.
mean? So unless they're looking
But
for the
a lack of
DNA,
DNA means no genetic markers to find
Yeah,
at all.
If they're looking for that,
if they're looking for it, that's what
Yes.
that's what
But
because
every time, and this is Star Trek we're talking about. In Star Trek, every single time anybody looks at anybody's bodily fluids, they show DNA. That's all they look at.
oh, it's space wizardry with technology, but
You know,
at the
and
same
so
time, the
it-
amount any of the protesting that I was starting to have with the way they're portraying the changelings,
Mhm.
have basically evaporated until such time later on in the season that they show that I need to be concerned, because so many things in all the tiny details that they've been dropping in this episode alone explain basically everything that I've cared to see.
Right. And I'm hoping that we're going to see some kind of real explanation to why these changelings are so different. Because they are very, very different.
It's,
and
Professor
we'll get to the
X
autopsy
is
bit in a
going
little
to
bit.
say it's a genetic mutation. It's a
No,
part
we're
of
going to get to that.
evolution.
We haven't gotten to that yet. And,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go on a little tangent there too.
Of course.
Anyway, so Commander Memberberry comes in, says, "Okay, I'm
having the worst day ever. My phone is dead. My phone is dead.
What kind of phone is it?
It's a Google Pixel 5.
That's your problem.
Yeah,
Get
whatever.
a freaking iPhone. Dude.
I had this thing for 3 years and 4 days.
Or at least a Samsung Galaxy. Either one of those. Get a good phone. Don't get
no. The Pixel is the best phone I've ever
Pixel
owned.
is like, look, dude. I worked for Verizon for years. Pixel is crap.
I love my Pixel phone. Okay, I've used all kinds of phones.
It's still crap.
No.
Where is that Target
if you
clip
honestly
thing?
want a good phone, you need to get an iPhone or a Galaxy. Those are the two best phones.
No,
that's why they're the best sellers for a reason.
No, man. Google Pixel. I'm just gonna have to get the 7. Is what's gonna happen. Sucks. Drop like $500.
Here's a grumpy old man shot right there.
Yeah.
So
grumpy cat.
So yeah, Grumpy Picard is talking to Grumpy Rowe about grumpy things, and that's and then meanwhile Jack is, hey, you taking off? Have a good one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Oh, by the way, you are never allowed to speak French in front of my wife.
I don't speak French.
Not you.
Oh,
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she says you have a nice voice, and so I don't want to have to punch you in the face if when you come through Nashville.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I have anything to worry about there. So.
Hey, man, I could run him down in my wheelchair, and my cane does have a pointy end. It's got a crow head on the end with a beak. In the right place, that could be hurtful.
We're gonna reenact the Hey McFly.
So Jack goes to the transporter room, and they're like, "Hey, do you belong here?" And he goes into.
Well, he has this crazy vision first, and then
So he goes into, "I'm going to kill you, sucker." And then all of a sudden he snaps out of it and realizes, oh no, this is one of those comedies where I think about the crazy thing I want to do, but then I didn't really do it. And except that it's not a comedy. And so he says, oh, never mind. I'll leave. Meanwhile, in NCIS Metalis, apparently they're still using obvious optical sights on.
I have an easy answer for that.
Yes.
If you want to make sure that everybody understands that you're as good as dead, but you don't want.
Oh yeah, I think that's it. They were painting the target just to let them know that they knew.
Yeah. Like,
I agree. That's the only reason that makes any sense. Because look at the size of that dot. They weren't even trying to hide it.
Because nobody uses lasers even in modern combat unless you want to make sure that the person understands you're going to die if you do something dumb.
Well, I will disagree with you on some of that because we do use laser sighting on some weapons, but not
visible light and not like that. No.
Yeah. But we do use laser guided weapons, but not like that.
Yeah.
All right. And so then we get to meet this guy.
And all I could say at this point was Band of Vulcans.
Yeah. So
because if anybody realizes who that is, he's one of the guys from Band of Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that took me out is because his voice is so insanely distinctive, and because I've watched Band of Brothers something like 7 or 8 times through.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen Band of Brothers.
Oh, it's a must watch.
All right, so I'll let you guys go first. So, what's your general thought on Band of Vulcans here?
I didn't generally have an issue with the idea that Vulcans could create, a crime syndicate.
I liked his explanation of it.
Yeah, it worked. But for me, it really was. The only issue was the actor they picked is someone who's very distinctive, and it probably only affects me or people like me who've watched the absolute crap out of Band of Brothers. This guy just, I giggled the whole time because in Band of Brothers he was so insanely emotional about everything all the time. So
See, I've only
like,
ever seen him be a
man.
douchebag or villain. Like he was in Punisher, and he's in, he's in. So I actually, I don't know. I really like this dude's portrayal. I really love the part here in a little bit where Worf's got the knife to his neck, and he's like, logic dictates and blah blah blah, and then Raffi's all like, yeah, well, you haven't taken his injury into account or his lack of patience, and then he calculates it, and he's like, spills the beans, and then she's like, and you're gonna give us the MacGuffin, and then he's all like,
that would be logical.
That would be logical.
But you see, here's my problem. Okay, so he's obviously a Vulcan. He cites logic and all that, but he's also very emotional. And he laughs, he smirks, he yells, he complains about the stink of Klingon blood, all that stuff.
Is that necklace? Is that the same one that like?
It's an Idic.
The Vulcans. Yeah,
which is a Vulcan symbol dates back to the original series.
Yeah.
Infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
Yeah,
it's Idic. And he wears it like he's a member of a freaking rap group because it's a big gold Idic, which that's don't even.
And it's kind of like tilted to the side and stuff.
Yeah. Yo, I'm giving the logical rap. All right. So anyway, the
what up, 47 Yorktown? Welcome to the.
But here's where I'm mixed on it because on the one hand, I think that a Vulcan. A true, not talking about Cybok here, a true Vulcan villain could be absolutely terrifying. An unemotional, unfeeling person who would just be like, I'm about to sever your carotid artery. This is going to be extremely unpleasant for you, and you will die.
You got to remember, he talked about growing up in
I don't care if he grew up in the hood. This is I'm just talking about.
Ferengi was his brother, dude. Ervik sent you a super chat.
Thank you. And so, about to watch the episode, catch you on the replay. Awesome, Ervik. I hope you enjoy it. And more than I did, but not as much as Danny did.
Star Trek Nitpickers is in the house. So is Springtime. Welcome. Don't forget to hit that like button, everybody. The thumbs up.
And so,
hey Salty, about to watch this episode.
So the problem here is that if he was really I like the fact that he was always calculating, because that is something that we really missed in Vulcans a lot. That's something Spock did a lot.
Yeah,
right? Spock was always doing math in his head,
calculating the odds. Yeah.
This guy is a Vulcan in that he's constantly calculating things and figuring out, well, what are the odds that this is going to, Spock would do the odds of stuff constantly, which is, sometimes a source of humor and sometimes a source of drama, depending on the circumstances. And so I really like that, but I don't like all the flagrant display of emotion, because I think he would have been more effective had he just been deadpan this whole time. And
that for me, that's the actor's choice. That's why I say it was hard for me.
Well, it's a combination of the actor and the director, because the director could have said, "Whoa, bring it in."
He didn't seem. He didn't seem too overly emotional to me. Although he does smirk, a few.
He did start to break with the smell of Klingon blood.
Yeah, he smirks. He complains about the Klingon blood. He does a couple of things that are definitely not Vulcan.
So can we move along so you can get mad about the hollow emitter?
Well, no, but I'm not mad about the hollow emitter, except for the fact that they shouldn't exist, but that's a whole other thing. But whatever, because they couldn't replicate the tech, but now apparently they can.
Well, it's been 30 years. Kurzweil effect.
Yeah, in 30 years, whatever. And yeah, Bert, I agree. He was super emotional, especially for a Vulcan. If he was played like an actual Vulcan, I think he would have been terrifying. But as it was, he might as well have not had the pointed ears. He was just a guy to me because of his. I mean, look at his face right there. That is not the face of a Vulcan. That's just a guy with pointed ears.
I mean, I don't know. I just, but that's fine.
Anyway, so then back to the alien autopsy, where she's digging in, and she finds out that they oh my gosh, they actually replicate internal organs and stuff, not just
right. And it returns when she
again
cuts into the organs, then they turn into the goo.
Right. Which again goes back to Deep Space Nine, but people
what? No. So when she continued
and this is another thing Bird mentioned in his in his rant, although he didn't get into it in any detail, but with the changelings, like first of all, if they were just a solid mass of goo but superficially looked like a person, they would be super easy to detect. Think about it. All you would have to do if you knew you had a changeling on the ship was use the internal scanners to scan for a mass of goo running around. And, because that's not a person, it's a mass of goo. It just looks like a person. So shoot that. However, they couldn't do that because their sensors detected what the shapeshifters were. If they appeared human, they were human.
I just would like to point out, we're supposed to be done in 24 minutes, and we're not even halfway through the episode yet. Just wanted to throw that out there.
So there's so many problems here. And so then I will try to go fast. The other doctor says, "Oh, wow, is this a new species?" And then Beverly's like, "No, it's evolution." Somebody get them a freaking dictionary. Somebody get them a dictionary. Okay. What is evolution? It's a process that over time creates something called speciation, which means that's a difference without a distinction, or a distinction without a difference. When she says, "Is that a new species?" and she says, "No, it's evolution," what are you talking about? You just said the same thing with different words. It's pure word salad. It makes no sense to say that, and it's neither.
At least it's better than saying quantum.
Yeah. They probably will next week. There. That's my whole rant about the autopsy.
All right. So I didn't have any. I thought it explained even more things. So, like I said, everything.
I did like the other stuff that they explained, but there's problems in that they conflict with Deep Space Nine lore directly, and and I don't like when they try to use scientific sounding terms, and the writers obviously don't know what the heck they're talking about.
We'll have to fight with the changelings and see if fight about the changelings on Friday and see if Brian can come on and have him laugh at us.
Well, he'll just laugh because he knows the changelings aren't the big bad. Because remember, I said that at the beginning. I don't think the changelings are the big bad. All right, so yeah. So Ro is still interrogating Picard. He gets the message that, oh no, the changelings can pass a blood scan. So now Picard is convinced that Ro is a changeling because she showed her blood.
And I was on, especially when she pulls the gun out on him here in a minute.
Oh, I was thinking Ro was a changeling. I'll give him that. They fooled me on that one.
Daniel's Hot Topics. Welcome to the party, pal.
Hey, Daniel. Hope you're doing well. And again, even though, like I said, I think Ro's presence was a member berry, I think her performance and her chemistry with Patrick Stewart was off the charts good. Every scene she was in, she delivers.
Hey, Anthony Marsh.
She absolutely delivers. I have no complaints about her performance, and even the way she's written, except for the fact that she's there.
Oh, she's just,
and Thomas thinks you're a changeling, Jason.
Oh, excellent.
Hi, Thomas.
So then we have a couple of crew members walking around with their iPads looking for Jack.
Well, they were so obviously changelings.
Well, duh.
Yeah, by that point, everything was starting to get really obvious at that point. Though. It was
mustache twirling.
Well, when we get to the other side of the,
I think the entire crew of the Intrepid are changelings, except for
Yeah,
what were
when
you
we
gonna
get to
say?
the other side of the holodeck room
Yeah.
scene, I think after that it was beyond obvious exactly what was
Yeah.
going on as far as who is what.
So they go. So she points a gun at Picard. They go into the holodeck, which apparently is permanently set to 10 forward.
It's permanently set to this is the cheapest thing that we could
Yeah.
reuse.
I mean, this is again lazy writing, and
Oh my
and
God,
I'm
no.
sorry.
How is it
This
lazy
is-
writing? This is more of a budget thing. This is more of
It's
like we don't
lazy
have.
writing to do. You know what? There are other things they could do without spending a ton of money. They could use other settings that they've used.
No, I mean,
and-
it to me it seems like they left it on because
And they
you
never
know,
turned it off.
and they just didn't turn it off. You know,
Because nobody said turn on such and such a program. They just
Yeah,
waltzed
they
in.
just-
It's
yeah.
like they GTFO'd away from the space nursery and then showed up here.
But it's been
and then that
running
was
for
it.
2 days, just as 10 forward.
It's got
Oh,
its own
yeah.
power supply.
got
'cause
its own
an
power
emergency
supply.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's stupid. Nobody bothered to put on space porn while
I had,
during
you
the
know,
last 2 days.
no, I mean,
You're telling me no, you're telling me nobody on the cruise like Danny and wouldn't have gone in there and loaded space porn.
whoa! I don't do porn. What are you talking about? I make my porn.
Exactly. So I'm saying you go onto the holodeck and make your porn. You'd be like a regular Mocklin in there.
No,
Now you'd be driving the worker bees because everybody's a responsible Starfleet member and they know exactly.
Oh yeah,
what the
and so
duties
here's one that really got Bird in really good, and I got to agree with Bird on this one 100%.
hey Bradley.
So Picard reaches under the bar and hits the off switch for the safety protocols.
Yeah,
What do you mean? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
okay with that?
yeah.
Have you never seen a Star Trek episode or movie or anything that involves the holodeck safety protocols?
Sure.
Do you not know that the safety protocols off switch isn't just everywhere in the program?
Yeah.
And usually it requires people's authorization codes and stuff in order to turn it off,
Just
because people
Joy.
can get killed if you turn them off. But here, and this is what Bird was saying, you could accidentally hit that button and then people could die in the holodeck.
you know,
Maybe it's behind a panel and we just didn't see him move it. I don't know.
there is a shot.
Now you're really stretching there, Jason. Come
Okay,
on.
Yeah,
why don't you pause on the you know, never mind.
on the
Huh?
on the bouton.
Yeah, when he's pressing the button. Or
On
whatever.
the buto.
Hey, look, the missus isn't in the room, so she can't hear me. And that was some pretty
All right,
sloppy
let me
French
see.
anyway.
So you want to
so-
see the actual button? Let me see. Go.
Right here. Yeah, I got it. Holodeck 10/4/2024.
So
safety
you're telling me to
protocols.
get it, and then you got it.
But look, it says
Why you
user
not-
ID equals Picard, comma JL. So he's an admiral. He doesn't have to. He's already logged in. You know, it's his.
But
little
he was the
program.
one who started it up, so maybe
Yeah.
he's got a bunch of settings.
Yeah,
All right.
you
So
know,
okay. So here you go. So
yeah.
so basically, but this is the panel under the bar. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to go to the arch. He doesn't have to do. I mean, come on. This is so freaking convenient that there just happens to be a safety protocols button
Hey,
right
Star
under the
Trek.
bar. Right next. By the way, right next to the gun.
Yeah, but that was the gun that Guinan kept in there, and the bar was feature accurate.
Uh-huh. Except that holodeck 10/4/2024. So in 2024, Guinan kept a 25th century phaser behind the bar.
Yeah, but that's
Hey,
like the
you know
tail
what?
end of the
They
2020.
did manage
Oh.
to sneak JL into this without Raffi saying it.
Yeah. Well, let's just be honest. 2024 and 2025, they happen to be beside each other.
Yeah.
And stuff doesn't just get invented the very next year in 2025
Yeah.
or whatever. Oh, you mean, no. Sorry, 2024, not 20.
Yeah, not
24.
2020. Not this is
Yeah. Wow.
500 years, dude. Or
Clip that
400 years.
slip up and make a short out of it.
Yeah.
Holy.
2024 is the next year.
Yeah, but she could have brought it with her. She's a time traveling witch.
No. Dude, come on now. That was such a load of
I don't
crap.
know. I didn't have any issue with anything that goes on in here. I know.
Of course not. I didn't care. It was all good.
Nope.
Come on.
Everything was great.
You
Look,
turn
Michelle
on the
Forbes
critical thinking a little bit. There's a problem here.
Maybe
I
they got
really-
the date wrong.
I miss Kadish. I can't wait to see what he has to say about this Saturday because, like, he's
Oh,
a
they've got
writer.
an awesome name for. By the way, I got to tell you this. I don't know if you've seen the thumbnail for the Saturday stream.
I haven't. no.
It's Lieutenant Biscuits.
Lieutenant Biscuits.
Yeah, because remember the
Yeah,
biscuits.
for Mandalorian.
Oh God.
Yeah, they're calling her Lieutenant Biscuits.
Lieutenant Biscuits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Picard just goes down and taps on the off button to turn off the safety protocols, and then goes to get some booze and says, "Yeah, but I got a gun too." Even though,
Well, because she looked at she asked him to turn on
Yeah,
music. He turned on music, and she looked away at the jukebox, and that
right,
gave him
well,
the
yeah,
opportunity to grab
but
the
keep in
gun.
mind, Picard whips around this gun like he's Yosemite Sam, and this is the same guy that a couple of episodes ago was like, "I can't shoot straight."
No, but his
Yeah.
adrenaline was pumping, so he could move fast. Fast doesn't mean accurate.
Yeah.
Greg Klein says Guinan was just prepping for the Bell riots.
Yeah, with a futuristic phaser.
Nice.
But the Bell riots weren't in LA, so wrong answer. But anyway, so this is actually, and despite my complaining, this was a great scene where the two of them yelled at each other in order to prove that they were both who they said they were.
Yeah.
I
I love this scene.
yeah, this was
Yeah,
a good
I
scene.
welled up a little bit, and like I said, it made especially when she said, "And you broke mine," because like I don't know, man. I guess I have a different memory, and I'll rewatch it, and you know what? Maybe I'll write an article about this because I'm supposed to write an article about this episode. Maybe I'll include the what is it called? Descent, I think is her last episode that she's in. Is that right? Is that it?
No, I watched it
No.
today. So one where she
It's
joins
the
the
second
team.
to last episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a penultimate episode of TNG.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Um,
I'm gonna watch that, and then I'm gonna write my article about like because you know what? I'll admit if I'm wrong, but I don't know. The emotion I remember
you see,
was like she thought she was doing the right thing and she was following her moral compass, and that's what I loved about her little speech to him. You know, it's like, I
but
felt
she
all of
also
this
sits
stuff,
there
man.
and says how hard it was living under his judgment. But if you go back and watch her in the episodes of TNG that she's in, that is the opposite of what happened.
Yeah, but there was more to their relationship that can be inferred aside.
Yeah, but there
from
was nothing about him being
there's the passage
judgy of her.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And no, there was no passage of time there. They never saw each other since that episode.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
after that,
I'm saying, but the time between her first appearance and her last appearance, you know,
Yeah,
there
It was in 9 episodes.
Yes, but what I'm saying is like, did those 9 episodes happen in 9 days? No.
No, they were
They-
across
they-
a couple of
they-
seasons.
Yeah, so like
They were in season
there's
5,
off
6, and 7.
camera. There's off camera stuff that could.
Well, actually, a lot of the time
feasibly-
she wasn't there because she was training.
Yeah, well,
There's-
either way, I mean, we can always infer all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah.
this is, yeah,
It's
But
a
yeah,
good scene,
I
man.
just, you know, when she's sitting there saying, "Oh, yeah, preemptive strike," thank you. But when she's sitting there saying, you know, working under your judging eye and stuff, and it's like there's no hint of that in any of the episodes that she's in with him. That he's just sitting there looking down on her the whole time, and in fact, he's always
Ego that
been
would
he's the
lead
one
you to
trying to
betray me.
encourage her.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
gonna
don't
watch
understand
that.
why they're trying to make it out that like Picard is what was just as bad as her or whatever. Because no, it was entirely on her. She was a traitor.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch every single one of her episodes over the
Yeah.
course of the next few days.
Well, some of them are like completely like cause and effect. She was just basically at the helm, you know. So,
Or what was it? Rascals was just a throwaway episode,
Yeah.
so you could skip that.
so
one,
you
yeah.
know, some of
Yeah.
them she didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
But in Ensign Rowe, when she first shows up, remember she's a hothead. Nobody trusts her. Nobody likes her. And even Picard got on her. But then at the end, he's the one that encouraged her. And so that was the whole thing. The reason she went into intelligence was because of Picard. The reason she got the mission she went on was because of Picard. It was all under his encouragement and tutelage that she did all this. And then she acts like he was judging her, and doesn't make sense.
So yeah,
Um,
excellent scene as far
But yeah,
as
but it was a great scene overall. Very well acted, very well done by both actors. Their chemistry was on fire. Unfortunately, like I said, there was a little bit of retconning with the history there. And so then Mr. Vulcan Laffy Laugh takes them to the same bar where they killed Sneed because, budget, and says, okay, I'm going to throw knives at you and make you kill each other because, that's been done before in Star Trek. So we'll do that again. And, they decide that they're not going to fight, but then they fight and fight and fight. And amazingly, she stabs Worf. And the funny thing is, stabs him in the kidney. And he's like, oh, I guess today is a good day to die.
It's a good day to die.
And it's like, if she had stabbed him in the throat, okay.
But then he can't deliver his lines anymore.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's not a death move right there. Even a normal human being could take that. Granted, they would be down for the count, but a normal human being could take that stab wound, and as long as they got medical treatments quickly enough, they would survive.
Well, the reality.
And yes,
Thomas,
this is as dumb as a logic extremist. I agree.
He is, a criminal.
Huh?
Like he is a criminal, logical or not.
Yeah.
So criminals aren't always the swiftest people.
So then we go back to the changelings on the hunt, and we go back to Picard and Ro talking about the conspiracy, and she's explaining how far it goes. And one thing I don't know how you guys felt about this. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way that he's like, oh, we could go to Janeway. She can fix it. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Because why is Janeway so awesome when the only thing she's managed to do is get lost?
I don't know. I think it was just a typical, let's drop a name. And that one was the most familiar, especially because you got Prodigy running.
You okay, Danny?
I think he's just befuddled with the nitpick.
That's what Trekkies do, man.
But
That's why I'm a
sometimes
trekker.
Let it wash over you.
Yeah, right, man. God,
This is a let it
What?
wash over you episode.
So
so good.
So
I'm still
he's
giving it-
down. They have the other guy check the pulse. Now, again, wouldn't it be logical to just vaporize the body?
Yeah, well, if I had to tell you how many times I've watched shows where everybody should have just put 2 to the head every time,
Yeah,
I'd never watch TV. So whatever.
I know, but I just it's like I never thought that Worf was dead.
Oh well, no, there's no way Michael Dorn was dead. I mean, it's like no.
And so he's like, yeah, I own you. He's like, oh no, and then Worf's like, yeah, haha, surprise. And I don't know, did you think? I'd like to see what you guys thought. The joke here, do you think it was appropriate, or do you think they should have gone for it straight as drama?
What are you talking
And
about?
he's like,
Which
I have
joke?
mastered the method of I'm kind of bleeding out here. Can we hurry this up?
I didn't. I mean, I
didn't mind it.
I didn't see it as a joke either. So
You didn't see that as a joke?
not really. No. That was-
No, because Worf doesn't know humor. So for him to point out a straight up fact, and then the one thing that Rafi says that did make me like the line from Rafi was the whole, are you sure you want to make this take any longer than this guy who's bleeding out has? here?"
Right.
He's
Yeah.
gonna get real impatient real quick.
And that makes him recalculate. Hey, look at that. That's a beautiful shot of the Daystrom station.
Yeah. The impenetrable Daystrom station protected by LDG's AI system.
Moriarty.
And,
We had a fascinating conversation this morning about whether Moriarty was the AI or if Moriarty is on the thing. And the panels look a lot like. In fact, I think LDG tweeted it. I'll have to check. but the technology looks similar to the yellow cube that they store Moriarty in ship in a bottle.
Hmm.
So
The funny thing is, I think we've seen the inside of the Daystrom Institute several times before.
You mean station?
Yeah. I think we've seen the interior of it a couple of times. Yes. We just didn't know that's what it was. On lower decks.
Oh, lower
when
deck.
they were storing the evil AIs. I think they might be there. So then security to the rescue. They're like, so yeah, we were looking for you.
Clearly not more changelings are coming towards them now.
Mm-hmm.
So the clearly not changelings say, well, time to go. And so she gives him her earring, and Picard's like, well, maybe I'll put it on later. And which I would have thought that would be hilarious if Picard just started wearing a Bajoran earring. I don't know. That would have been really funny. By the way, did you notice they changed the nose ridges on her?
Yes.
Much
LD had a huge problem with that as well. So here's my thing. Because that actress, Nana Visitor, bitched and complained that they changed her ridges. So I think they just, they're just
well,
keeping
it's
up
a
with the way they
typical
look.
thing. All I'll do, and this is why I'm really learning to let go of being super nitpicky on stuff so I can enjoy things. Where does continuity ruin things? Where's the purity test? Because the Trill Doctor should make you never want to watch any of this entire series. Because the first Trill did not look like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, we got to be real careful.
And
we got to be real careful where we go on some of these odd details.
I'm going to talk about like Bird had this big old thing about Klingon lore, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But
he's just wrong on that. Sorry, Bird.
But the ridges. It didn't I didn't think, oh no, they changed the ridges. How dare they? It's not that. It's just it was distracting to me because it almost looked they were just drawn on in some shots, and other shots that you could actually see the ridges just depending on how the camera angle.
Yeah, I think a lot of that might have to do with makeup techniques, and a lot of the stuff they were using in the 80s and the 90s was nasty.
No, I mean
skin.
in this. I'm talking.
That's what I mean. Like even all the way forward in this, and because of the way the techniques have changed, it affects the way some of this stuff looks. Yeah. And that's fine. If it's close enough, it's close enough. I actually, anyway, let's go.
So they take up in a shuttle, and Ro is like contemplate. Like, see right there, you can see the actual ridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the time, that just looks like lines.
Yeah.
They were, more pronounced for sure, but they did it to Kira's character in the,
Yeah. And Jack's asking what's wrong with the Trill. Well, if you look, what Jason was pointing out is that the first time we see a Trill, the species look way different.
And no dots that are sexy.
Yeah, there were no dots, and they had lots of they had bumpy foreheads, and so they were like Klingons. So they totally did a rewrite of what Trills looked like. When we saw
DS9, yeah,
and which is fine because the spotted Trills are way cooler looking, but
yeah. In fact, it was the episode where Beverly fell in love with the dude. And then
the other thing, the slugs didn't require a specific person because they stuck him in Riker.
Yeah, so like there's all kinds of stuff you could come on.
Yeah, so it's canon that Riker was actually the first human to host a Trill. Sorry, Discovery.
Well, doesn't Discovery take place in the past?
No, the Discovery with the Trill takes place in like the 32nd century.
It does. The 32nd century?
It's after
they jump forward in time. Yeah.
I know about season 3. Yeah, just do not watch Discovery, man. Yeah. Just don't.
Anyway, so the squishy guys put down a time bomb with a ridiculously long countdown. I mean, that countdown is so long, she could have just like literally put on a spacesuit and jumped out of the shuttle. And the amount of time that they gave her.
I almost wonder if they thought that she was going to try to double back to the other ship, and then that was why they wanted to give enough time so that she wouldn't be close to the Intrepid.
Yeah. So they give her
Hey,
way
Jack.
too much time, and beam out, and so she gets on the comms. Now at this point, Shaw is not believing anything Picard and Riker are saying.
Well, not until this.
Right.
Yeah,
And then she
this
gets
is the
on there
moment.
and she's like,
you
"They
skipped over the
know!"
whole. You skipped over the whole security. Belay that order. You know, like so.
Yeah. Somehow I don't know how we missed it, but yeah, that didn't.
Yeah,
it was
just
way-
before she calls, they rush onto the bridge, and they're like, "Man, dude, we got to get out of here."
Yeah.
And Shaw's just like, yeah, right. Security.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like that's weird.
Like 10
Anyway, so
seconds
she-
before that, or something like that.
Yeah, so it's just such a short scene that but Shaw's not buying it until they see her on there, freaking out that she's about to die, and then she suicides into the Intrepid.
Dude, that's
And-
like God, man, it got me.
Oh, look, there was, yeah, I cried.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
I cried twice because I watched it again at lunch, and I did again. I'm sorry.
I didn't
just-
cry, but I felt it. I'm not.
I didn't,
gonna
like,
lie. I'm
sob,
not made
but-
out of pure salt.
I didn't sob, but I was like,
Although tears are salty,
Yeah.
are they not?
they
Yes,
are.
yes, they are.
We filled his mind. That was the problem. You and I caused this
Yeah.
issue in the universe. We destabilized the universe.
Yeah, right.
But by the way, shouldn't the Intrepid be an Intrepid class ship? I'm just saying.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
So Riker's like, "Oh crap," and Shaw's
Okay,
like,
now
"Oh,
look at that
everybody
look
was
on his
complaining
face.
about the ships don't sink thing.
Yeah,
there's-
that LDG
there's-
was tripping on
There's
that too. man.
there's Bernie stuff happening off the tip of that nacelle,
Mhm.
and that's going to destabilize.
Thank you. As
The
we
orientation
right
on the
on
ship.
that. Yeah.
And if you don't like that and you disagree, then you have to seriously dislike the destroying of the photon in front of the Shrike, because that kicked that thing backwards. Let's go.
Well, I'll say
So-
this about the ship sinking. Should it sink? Technically, no. Is that one that I'm going to die on? That's that a hill I'm going to die on? No, because you know what? Everybody does that. I mean, that's something I ripped on The Last Jedi about, because they do that in The Last Jedi when they blow up Star Destroyers, is that they go, and that's just it's just a tactic that they do because it evokes the emotional feeling of a ship literally sinking. That's why they shoot it that way, is to give you the feeling that the ship is going down. And so this is nothing original here. And now,
and it's a big case. The easy way to put this is, as much as people like to try to pretend that Star Trek is hard science fiction,
oh, it's not.
no,
Star Trek is pure fantasy.
it is not hard science fiction.
Yeah.
So people need to come to terms
And
with that.
especially, the funny thing is Star Trek was more science fiction the further back in time you go. That's that, like Star Trek, the original series was probably the most hardcore sci-fi it ever was.
Yeah.
And then as you go forward, it becomes less and less. And now at this point, engines are just magic. The ships repair themselves, and warp is just hyperspace. So don't worry about it. That kind of stuff I'm not going to trip on.
No.
And so there you go, Danny. You can be happy. I'm not complaining.
Mm.
You okay?
I'm fine. I'm just it's after 5 and I do have an appointment at 5:30, so I would
Hey,
like to-
look.
Oh,
It's a
we're
meme.
almost. Oh, it is. It's the meme again. That's awesome. That is exactly the same.
Wait,
as
there's
the
our
original.
thumbnail for next week, Danny.
No,
right there.
no, I can't. Looking at his old arthritic, crooked ass fingers, it disturbs me, and I'd really like it if you get it off this frame. please.
Next frame.
Thank you.
Wow. So Seven's like checking out and goes, look at his hands. So they're
His skin is melting off his face in front of us. He's
he's
literally
a changeling.
He's decomposing in front of us. That's why I love the thumbnail. It was like,
And thank you so much, Benny Russell.
super chat.
Here's a deep cut for you. See if you get it. It's real. I created it. It's real. It's a super chat from Benny Russell.
Oh yes, yeah. I got it.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Russell, from the asylum from which you live. So there's the shot right there. So yes, it does give the illusion that the ship is sinking. But they could have, and I'll tell you what, I like this shot a whole lot better than the alternative, which would be for the saucer section to rear up.
Yeah, because
then that lower the secondary hull is so ugly. I'd much rather see it from this angle.
Oh, then it would if it had gone up, it'd have really looked like a hard on. That's fine.
Yeah, it would have been.
It'd be like, where's that nebula?
Yeah, exactly.
Fire Cialis.
Oh man.
See, Alice. See.
So Danny's got to go.
We're trying to hurry here. We're almost to the end.
If you
I
don't
was trying to
believe
think of a
us,
way to-
believe your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn.
It's like, yeah, big ship on fire, about to kill us. Do you believe us now?
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
where we're at.
And a shuttle just exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
So-
the funny thing is that if, they're trying to make this ship look menacing, they should have used a bigger ship. They should have had it be like a Sovereign or something, because this ship is not that imposing. And in fact, it looks like it's a little smaller than the Titan itself.
Sort of, kind of. But
And
yeah,
with
I
that
don't know, it's
wonky lower decks area, it's like, hey, I'm going to hit you with my hanging sack here. No. Just no.
It does, but I don't know.
What?
Just the ship. You got me thinking when you were talking about it being it, because Voyager wasn't Voyager an Intrepid class?
Yeah, Voyager was
It
an
was,
Intrepid
yeah.
class.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been
A little
Of
bit.
course,
So you
then
think
somebody
that-
like you would have said, "Oh, it's just a member berry."
or they could have done like an improved
Well, it is a member
Intrepid, 'cause
berry
they could have,
Intrepid, but
because they could have, yeah, not to fall down a hole on this, but they could have swiped something from Star Trek Online, because there's an improved Intrepid class in that
Mhm.
in the
Right.
video game, so they could have swiped the models for that and put that in here
and
instead
it
of
probably would have looked
what
better.
we got. Yeah, and it still would have matched the general aesthetic of this ship, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So-
But yeah, if they made it look like a bigger, badder ship, like something like the Prometheus, even, or something, something that looks like it could actually kick the Titan's butt, because that ship looks like, oh no, a slightly broken ship is going to attack us.
This is true, Star Trek. So, like, see,
Yes, the Intrepid was one of the original 12. That is true.
oh, hold up, I got blur on.
Hey, CC, how you doing?
It's blurry, Cece.
There you go.
Good.
Now
how are
it's
you?
unblurry. Hello, unblurry, Cece.
Hi.
Okay.
Almost done. So then they're like, hey, you.
Oh, this part was awesome. Oh my
So
god. This was
so
good.
all of a sudden we go from Star Trek to Jason Bourne in space.
I was thinking more like
because
John Wick,
in-
but okay.
Look at that. In
whatever.
literally 10 seconds, he takes all 4 changelings down.
Dude, it was dope. It was dope. I'm sorry.
It was crazy. Yeah, but
yeah.
for me, it just leads
I'm not going to say
into.
it's dope just because he did it, because I want to know why.
Well,
Because-
see, that's
well,
why I don't have any
obviously,
issue with it.
Yeah, because he is the whatever's wrong with him took over, and just instinct kicked in. I guess it would be a lot like Jason Bourne. Like, he doesn't know how
That's
he
what I'm
does it.
saying. Yeah, he
okay.
went all
Yeah,
Bourne
that's true.
identity on him. But I mean, he took out 4 changelings, dude. These aren't humans. These aren't even Klingons. These are changelings. And he took out 4 of them.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
boss.
That shouldn't be possible.
Maybe that's why
I can't
they're
wait to
hunting
see.
him. You know,
I
maybe that's
can't
why.
wait to see.
Yeah,
Maybe he's like the
Well,
seed of all of
that's
this.
why I want to know what's
I don't know.
really going on. Then he has another one of his freaky visions.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Intrepid's got torpedoes hot and coming after him. And just as they let the torpedoes go,
I
they
love
warp
this.
away.
Yeah.
And
Did you
they're like,
notice
well,
that the 2 torpedoes were each targeting the nacelles? Like they were meaning to
Yeah.
stop that ship.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
going to try and stop him.
Yeah.
Um,
Look
and
at
so
Shaw's
then
face. That was good.
nice
Yeah.
shot of the Titan at warp,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to figure out now what the heck do we do now?
I just like Riker's line. They're all coming for us.
Yeah,
Right.
everyone.
Which in a way tells me we're going to probably get the most overdosed starship explosion of
Right. Well,
shots and
if
beauty
they do
passes.
that, well, because
and
keep in mind
shooting
they've already mentioned that they've been attacked by Klingons, the Rangers, and Federation ships.
this
so
is
we
going to
know
make
that-
that scene at the end of Prodigy look like nothing. I think.
Right.
I
So
think
we
it's
know
gonna
they've
be
been
silly.
infiltrated by Klingons. So we could see Klingons in whatever this goes down.
Yeah.
But we don't know, like, have they infiltrated Romulans or whatever? Is there something else that's out there?
They should infiltrate the Norsicans and try to stab Picard in the heart again.
So they figure out that her
That's bad.
earring has actually got all of her research in it.
Yeah, what do you call this? Like a old school
Old
spy.
school spy tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I actually thought was fine. I know.
I like all the redacted information. How
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
redact the holographic information there? What?
Well, all the
real-
orange bars, Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of. I think there was way too much. They tried to treat the audience incorrectly with some of these images that they brought up here, but
Yeah.
like the computer reading everything out of her earring and then coughing it up was fine. Like there was nothing wrong with that, because it wasn't that the earring was what was projecting it. It was the computer.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Beverly's like, "Look, what's going on?" And he's like, "Mom, I'm broken."
I had nightmares and I've never slept in 20 years.
Right.
No, he didn't remember he didn't remember having the nightmares. Remember?
No, but he
Right.
basically stopped sleeping too. Remember he said, like,
Yeah.
I just don't sleep anymore. So yeah, there's something grievously wrong with him and nobody's got a clue. Like I don't even have guess one that I would even try to
there were
bet
so
money
many
on.
little things I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about that you skipped over, but I don't have time for it.
Well,
those
that's
little
the problem. The show, I mean, even as we're going, the show, it's hard to cover everything. So what were some of the things you wanted to cover?
So on Daystrom Station,
Mhm.
they show I think when the Vulcans telling them about the thing and they're showing scenes from the station and they have these it looks like the booth that Data made his daughter in, Lowell.
Mhm.
And there's 2 of them. And like I'm pretty sure Lore is there because I think they had no problem keeping B4 at the Daystrom Institute because he was, B9, so to speak. And
Well, he's also disassembled. So
so was Lore. Data disassembled Lore.
Well, last we saw Lore, he was disassembled. Yes.
Yeah. So it's fair to presume that, and because he's so dangerous, they stored his disassembled parts at the Daystrom Station because that line Rafi said that's where they keep all the highly experimental or alien tech or dangerous crap,
dangerous stuff,
the extra dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about this morning. Like, I really feel like either Lore's the AI or Moriarty's the AI or Moriarty's the virus in the thing to get through the AI or whatever. I don't know. Because if you think about it, like LDG said this morning, they're both artificial intelligence. Sorry, Lore and Moriarty.
I was going to
And
roll the dice on that. I'd go with Moriarty.
Yeah, because here's the other thing, though. Moriarty was made specifically to defeat Data. So he would be a very appropriate foe for Lore which is why I'm almost thinking that Lore is the AI and Moriarty is the thing that keeps Lore busy. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of really cool possibilities. My
Right.
money is Moriarty is the AI and his wife is the key. Oh, cool. That could be cool too. Shit, you know?
Shouldn't it be the other way around though?
I don't know, man. We still
I'm
haven't
the
even seen.
Keymaster.
We're at the
I am the
halfway
gatekeeper.
point, and we still haven't seen Geordi or Lore or Data or
Yeah.
whoever he ends up being.
Yeah, Spiner playing something. Yeah,
Yeah. No.
but no, like this. Yeah, so this
Wow.
is very, very solid score
I-
for me. Like, I'm not
yeah,
gonna-
like-
we already know Danny's score.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
giving
Danny,
it a
you
9.
gave it a 9.
I am giving it a
So-
9, and I'm a little concerned because David Cullen in his review this morning said that he's seen all 10. He said this is his favorite episode. So I don't think we're gonna win Salty over by the time this show is over. So
I don't think so. No, I think we're
Yeah.
gonna have I think he'll be okay. It won't be like season 2 of Picard, but I don't think he's.
Well,
gonna
I'll
love
say
it.
this, I mean, because this, like I said, this episode is not the low point, so that's a good thing. But Jason, where are you going to score this one?
I'm going with a very solid 8
Okay.
because I still like Raffi.
the
just bugs
Raffi
me
stuff
just
bothers you
enough.
more than me.
If
Yeah.
if it
Yeah, I
if
get
it
it.
didn't, then it would get a 9. But for me, it's an 8.
Fair
I'm
enough.
going to give it a solid 6.5. And I mean, look, I think that most of the stuff on the Titan, if it was just the Titan stuff, I would probably be with Jason. I'd probably be around an 8. Even though I didn't like a couple of things, overall, I thought it was really good. But if it was just the stuff with Worf and Raffi, it would probably be like a 4. You know, because that stuff.
Man,
is
but what
just-
about does she really like? Because I love seeing every second Worf is on screen. It's just awesome.
Well, see,
Well,
and
I
that's
thought he was
why
horrible in
I only docked at a point is because I have no trouble with Worf and the way that Dorn continues to make Worf be Worf. I mean, you got to think about how long it's been since he did Nemesis, and he still is punching it out the same way. Like the guy.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
saying Michael Dorn is doing a
But-
bad job.
no,
I'm
but it's
saying-
Raffi.
But well, it's not even just Raffi. It's the writing style. It's NCIS Metalis or CSI Metalis. It's just a police procedural where they're pulling clues out of their butts. Because if Worf knew who this guy was from the beginning, they should have gone after him first, not Sneed. And I mean, it makes no sense that they would go after the lower guy in the totem pole.
Yeah, well,
Um,
see, all you're doing is tossing out stuff that actually supports the reason why I feel about this like this, and that is they've written all of this because
It's just a CBS show.
this is well, no, worse. They wrote all this because they had to put the Raffi character in because I'll bet
Right.
you she was under contract and she had to be in the damn show, and this is what we ended up with, and this is the best that they could pull off for both the way the character had been written, what the backstory was already, and the range that the actress actually has. And I know that we've talked about the fact that this can come down an awful lot to directors, but there is a point where the director can demand too much, and she just won't be able to provide it. And for me, no, she's just a big no for me.
Here's where I really what really disappoints me, and this is something I think should hit home for Danny, is I know that one thing that you were looking forward to when we heard about the show is that it seemed like Raffi's journey in this was going to be kind of a recovering addict.
Yeah, and we haven't.
And
really
there's
seen
none
that.
of that.
Yeah.
It's just she's just being a kick-ass spy girl.
Yeah, they
And-
used that as a foil in the very first episode or so, and then they walked
and then
away
it's
from
just
it.
done.
Yeah.
And honestly, if her entire arc was just recovering from that one shot of whatever she took from the Ferengi, that probably would have been a better story. You know, and she could have been sitting on the La Serena the whole time while Worf was doing the stuff, but also being, you know, trying to go through her recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really thought there was going to be.
I would
more
love
of
to see the salamander babies come back for revenge. I would absolutely love that. I will
So,
I will say best Star Trek series ever whenever they bring back the salamander babies.
Well, that's actually when you know you're no longer watching Star Trek and you're actually watching Galaxy Quest. But no, I am jazzed. The way I put it to Danny is at this point, I'm gonna just read it because I want to get it right.
Yeah.
What I sent to Danny. Messages, Danny. All I said was, I said, okay. So basically, this episode has me way up my trust in the showrunners because for me, the level of answers to things, like, remember last week I was grumbling about the fact that everything looked like a great big boneless steak walking around on the walls and stuff, and I was grumbling about other little things here and there that are like, yeah, I can nitpick this and I can nitpick that, and now we're getting up to this point. And you're getting a whole pile of answers. And I know this is a inside baseball comment to make, but I've been slowly working my way through the Popcast live stream where they had one of the senior producers from Star Trek on the show, and he even addressed the fact that there's a good chance, because he didn't want to drop spoilers.
I modded that show
anymore. Well, he talked about the fact that that even the people nitpicking about the the pump action phaser. Like, it almost sounds like, as far as he's concerned, there's going to be something said about that at some point that kind of plugs a bunch of these little stupid little holes or frustration people have.
If they come up with an explanation for the pump action phaser, I will apologize for being mad about the pump action phaser. But right now, I'm still mad about the pump action phaser.
For sure. Brian has seen all 10, and he said he calls them like hyperlinks. He's like, all these things that you guys are having questions about, they get answered later. So
I've heard him say that, but the problem is that so far, even the answers we've gotten have just left more questions.
Oh, I won't disagree with that, but this is where we can come back again and again and again and say, dropping these episodes one at a time, although great for being able to let YouTubers, produce content without choking on it all at once.
Right.
The reality is that this stuff is probably best enjoyed in a mad hurry.
Yeah, like I cannot wait to be able to sit down for 10 hours and just watch this.
Yeah, I think this will be a better watch if you binge it. But we did get a donation. So Danny,
super chat.
So Mephisto donated $1. Thank you, Mephisto, and said, "Well, I'm not the villain, but I soon will be." And I think that was directed at LDG. And there's a long history of LDG and Mephisto, just so you know.
Well,
so
you got to scoot, don't you?
Yeah, I gotta get ready for this meeting in 7 minutes. So.
Yeah, you're always running away because you hate hanging out with us. I understand.
That's okay. He does that with me. It's good.
No, that's totally cool, man.
You know what? Jason? I'll message you when I'm done, and we can resume. You're welcome to, Michael. Oh, he's gonna do that thing where he ends.
Yeah, he's gonna do the best stare in the world. Yeah, I would never. Okay. I will never play poker with Mike.
Yeah, you do not want to play poker
ever.
I would love to play poker with Danny.
Yeah, I'm a giant walking tell. Danny and me would just be taking each other's money over and over and over again. We would just be like, "Would you like your money back?" "Yes, please." "Can I take your money back?"
I will say this. So, Danny, I just want you to know, I do have high hopes for the show as far as the final 5 episodes. I do want to see Shaw's character elevated. I actually would like to see Jack Crusher in a series. Like I could, I would like to see him join Starfleet, and I could see it like a Jack Crusher. And
well, what happens if he's gosh, and I hate to bring up this point because I really do got to get going, but what if he's like a changeling and he just doesn't know it? Maybe
how, but if he is literally Picard and Dr. Crusher's son, what do they have, a 3-way with Odo? I mean,
maybe he was switched at birth or switched in his youth, or there's got to be something like obviously there's something up with him,
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna. That's why the problem with all this, they keep building up these mysteries upon mysteries upon mysteries, and if they don't have one heck of a payoff at the end, it's gonna make some people like me really mad.
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah,
making
yeah.
Bird of Prey 5. It's going to give him a coronary. But
Yeah,
it's not-
I'm afraid for the man's health. So
yeah,
they
but
need
for
to do
me, it's going
something
to
here.
depend on if they can stick the landing. If they
Yeah.
stick the landing on this, I will celebrate. I
Nice.
absolutely will.
Good.
Anyway, you get out of here, Danny. I know you got to run, so have a
right.
good one.
Peace out, guys.
Hey, Danny.
And so for Danny, I will just say, yeah, he's a jerk. So
Nah.
no, and so tomorrow we're gonna do our regular thing, and maybe we can have some open panel discussion about it if I can figure out how to do it and if it's legitimate, allowable. I don't know if I haven't been able to find out yet if it's for sure if we can do it or not. But I'm going to be in the Diablo 4 beta, so I'm going to see if I can.
Oh, that's
some of
right.
that.
You needed to look into that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be kind of fun to show off some of that if you're into Diablo. But we'll talk about Picard, and we can also just hang out and do whatever like we usually do. So from moving forward, the show's going to be Thursday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as far as the evening shows. So we got Nerd Fight, and then Nerd Life. By the way, tomorrow night, you guys will be very happy. Very special guest, Mrs. Salty, will be on the show with me to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Nice.
Because I'm about as Irish as they get. So
There we go.
She said she'd come on.
Nice.
We're not going to drink though, but we will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day together. Hopefully you guys will join us. We'll just kind of hang out and talk about, I don't know, Diablo, St. Patrick's Day, Red Matter, Red Angel, Red Lady, Neelix's Red Alert, Rootin' Tootin' Chili. Yes, I think you're right. And change that picture.
Now if Star Trek, if they put Neelix's recipes into an episode of this, now that's a member buried too far.
If they do what?
If they start putting Neelix recipes into the
I'm surprised they haven't already.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tomorrow night the wife will be on the show. So if you have any questions for her, or you just want to say hi to her, be sure to drop by tomorrow. As long as those questions are appropriate, she will answer them. And then we'll just do the usual church life thing on Sundays, and I think that's a good schedule for right now. And I do want to say publicly thank you, Jason, for kind of hanging out with us and joining the team, so to speak.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
You
need to shave more often, though.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you're not the only one who tells me that. It's kind of funny. I've got no dog in the hunt. I don't mind at all hanging out.
LD,
LD. Yeah, I do. You followed me back recently, LD.
It's called I Like Moose Meat at Twitter.
I like my moose.
Moose meat.
I like my moose with toques.
Moose and toques is. I'm trying to think. Is there something that would go with it? Anyway, Cersus wants you to drop a link.
Yeah, that's my Twitter. It might be irreverent from time to time, and anything that could be in there, whether it's pop culture or politics or just random crap. So it's not curated in one direction or the other.
And be warned, his politics are, he's like the alt-right kind of thing. So, and you sometimes got to talk him down. So
Canadian content. Yes, my fellow New Brunswicker.
Well, now what's the deal with Canada, like, wanting to ban internet that doesn't have enough Canadian in it? Is that still going to be a thing?
Yeah, we're not sure. There's discussion that Trudeau might prorogue Parliament, which means basically pulls the carpet out from underneath everything and nobody does anything about anything, including the bills will not go forward. So he might just cause all this stuff to die on the table.
Well-
It's like a weird Canadian kind of way of, when people send stuff to the president and it just sits on his desk for 6 months and then nothing happens.
Right. They call it a pocket veto.
Yeah.
You could just hang a Canadian flag behind you. That should take care of it.
Oh yeah, we discussed that. Or I'll just make my background a big Canadian flag, and it'll just big red on the left and right of me with a big white, and sort of kind of see the maple leaf behind
maybe
me.
put on a toque and wear a big heavy jacket. Put a scarf on.
Oh yes, I do very much like LTT Cerstus.
What is LTT?
Linus Tech Tips.
Oh yeah, Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah.
That's a good channel.
Yeah. Actually, and without this turning into the everything show, all of a sudden, of all the things to your question about that crazy bill up here, is the fact that LTT is the biggest. Well, Linus Media Group, the actual company name, is the biggest tech YouTube infrastructure in the world, based in Canada, out in Vancouver. Everyone that works for him is Canadian or is expat American that's actually moved up to Vancouver because they've done some of that. And yet there's no information on how that will or will not be considered Canadian content or not Canadian content or anything, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I hope it calms down.
Chief Cook keeps wanting me to name the 12 original starships, which I'll try. But keep in mind, I do actually have a prescription for my broken brain. So, I'm doing the best I can here. But first, ignored tips $1 and says, remember that game with blocks and mining and crafting? Yes, I do remember that game. And Jason can vouch for me. I've been trying to work on a way to make it work in the streaming, but whenever I try to make it stream, it just completely craps out everything on the computer. And Jason has seen that with his own eyes. Right, Jason?
Yeah. We spent a bunch of time offline trying to figure this stuff out. And in a couple of instances, I've been able to reproduce some of the issues even on my own system. So
we think it has something to do with NVIDIA and StreamYard.
It's
they don't
very
like
weird. Yeah.
And so it is something we are genuinely working on. Anyway, so here's my attempt. I will to name as many of the original 12 starships as I can. Obviously, the Constitution, the Constellation, the Enterprise, the Exeter, the Yorktown, the Excalibur, the Intrepid, the Defiant. Oh man,
I think you've listed all the ones that I know right away.
And now my brain is going blank. So sorry. The best I could do is 8. There's 4 I'm missing. But that's not bad off the top of my head. 8 out of 12, considering I have a officially damaged brain and I'm taking medication for it. By the way, next week I'm taking massive amounts of steroids. I'm hoping by the
over to the new
the
new regimen or
the Lexington. Yes, I forgot about the Lexington. So that's 9. Was the Concorde one? I don't remember them mentioning the Concorde on the show, but I mean, Farragut. Yes, that's the Farragut is one. Although Strange New Worlds messed it up, they did, but they did mention the Farragut, so that's 10. But the Farragut in Strange New Worlds was prior to original series, so it's possible that Farragut was replaced by a Connie. We can hope. Did I thought I said Yorktown. Yeah, I said Yorktown.
You did. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Check the tape.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, what they're doing, because we have to wait until after the surgery, which is in April, before I can start doing the big infusion. That's not steroids. That's an immune system suppressor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The steroids, they're going to pump you up.
Mm-hmm.
Those that are old enough to remember them, Hans and Franz. But anyway, the steroids And just saying, thank you so much. Puts in $3 as a tip. Says $1 for every Star Trek episode 5 for every star episode 5 deserves. Ooh. Well, they gave it a lower rating then, unless that was 3 out of 5. In which case, we rate out of 10, so you should be putting another $3 in because.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so in probably around May, I'm going to do the immune system suppression. But this is a big, massive steroid injection, not like the little shot that they give you sometimes, you know, if you have a boo-boo or something. I don't know if you've ever done that. But this is like, I'll be sitting in their infusion center. So they hook up an IV to me and actually have it drip into me with the steroids for hours, 3 days in a row next week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I get to spend like half my day just sitting there getting infused with steroids. And the idea there is to hopefully give me a little bit of a boost to get through from now until after I have the surgery, since I can't do the immune suppression now.
Okay.
So because I've been having so many problems with EMS.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Hopefully it'll help a little bit. And also thanks to the Saratoga. Although the Saratoga, they never mentioned the Saratoga in the original series, and when we first see the Saratoga, it is a Miranda class.
Yeah, I went and dug up the list, and it's actually longer than 12, so I don't even know. The certain list is NCC 1700. And then I won't say USS a million times, but there was the Awani, Constellation, Defiant, Eagle, Emden, Endeavor, Enterprise, Excalibur, Exeter, Hood, Intrepid, Korolev,
The
Lexington.
Hood was in the original series, so that's another one.
So Intrepid, Korolev, Lexington, and Potemkin.
Potemkin. That's what I remember. They mentioned the starship Potemkin. They're going to rendezvous with the Potemkin.
So there's our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's 11 then that we can confirm from the original series canonically. But I have to go back and rewatch them.
Yeah.
And only the Enterprise survives. You know? But the I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so thanks to my church, I'll be getting a little wheelchair next week. But don't know when they're going to put in a wheelchair ramp at the house, so we'll see about that.
Yeah, we didn't actually get an answer to that question. I just brought it up because
what did I think of Rose Fate? Is that what you
like with her dying off the way that they
I would agree that it felt a little rushed, but ironically, if you watch the final episode in which she appears, the ending of that episode appears very rushed as well. So I guess it's just a road thing. Because it's so funny because the first half of that episode is so good. And then all of a sudden it's like bam, 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 all this stuff happens. And then, oh yeah, I'm a traitor. And it's like, what? So yeah. Was the Starship Republic? Oh yeah, because they mentioned the Republic in Court Martial. I don't think so, because I think its registry was only 3 numbers.
It's not on this list of even uncertain. Like in the uncertain list, they've got a bunch. Oh no, it is here. It is USS Republic. It's NCC 1371 according to the.
Yeah, but that's not what it was in the. If you go to, I think it was Court Martial, is when the Republic was mentioned.
Super chat.
So that sounds wrong.
Super chatty.
And Gas Life, thank you so much for the £5 going towards the ramp. I appreciate it, man. I got some friends that are hoping that are going to help me with it. It's just we're trying to figure out. We got to figure out the legal specs for it and all that, and then get people that know how to build this stuff, because obviously you don't want to go cheapskatey on the ramp, because if the ramp falls apart while you're on a wheelchair, that's bad.
No, you can't get a wheelchair for your wheelchair to cart you around.
Yeah, get a wheelchair with a winch on the back. Back it up. Beep, beep. All right. Bring her on up.
Actually, there's some irony to this.
Don't ask Matthew to build it. Well, he's talking about life with Matthew, but
no,
not
I
me.
know. That's why I said it's kind of ironic that he says that because, well, as you know, my son is in construction.
Yeah, his son's name is Matthew and works in construction. But yeah. But don't worry, no Canadians. It's not going to be made out of maple syrup and
yeah, glued together with plywood made with maple syrup. That's the adhesive. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping we'll be able to make arrangements soon on that. Anyway, but I'm just excited because, even though it feels weird being in this room again, honestly, I'm still working on arranging things because there's 2 doors into this room. You can see there's one here, a double door off to the side here. And then there's a set of French doors directly behind me. They're actually technically both French doors, but these are solid and these are glass. All right. But the problem is these doors on the side go directly into the kitchen. These go right into the foyer. They're right by the front door. All right. Yeah. So the reason, if you notice that on this side of my head, there's a whole lot of stuff there in front of the door because there's a big old antique hutch that was actually, it's been in my family for over about 120 years now. And so it's basically going wall to wall back there. And so it's blocking that door, that you can't open that door. And so there's like a little mini fridge and stuff sitting on top of it. So I'm going to take that whole hutch and slide it over here. So it's going to block the door to the kitchen. And the reason for that is because maneuvering the wheelchair through the kitchen to get anywhere would be much more difficult than through the foyer.
Okay.
And so I want the entrance to be through the glass doors. But then that creates the issue of how do I open and close the doors themselves when in the wheelchair?
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
Those automatic systems are kind of expensive, but I'm going to eventually probably have to get one.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but c'est la vie. But on the good thing is it's like I don't have to get into a wheelchair walking around the house right now. So I'm trying to do all this stuff as early as possible so that when I get to the point where I can't walk around the house, I don't have to panic about getting stuff ready. The wheelchair for right now is going to be like when we go to the grocery store, when we go to church and stuff like that, then, hop in the chair. And Bird says, take the doors off the hinges. I thought about that, but they're beautiful doors. I mean, I don't know if you can see them, but they're
the glass doors are nice. Yeah.
And this is like a little, even though it's a dining room, since it's got doors on it everywhere and you close all the doors, it's a sealed room. And so it makes it my own little safe studio space. And I can rant and rave all day long while Joshua's in the kitchen or whatever and not bother him too much. Whereas if the doors are taken off the hinges, then anything they're saying, you'll be able to hear. Anything I'm saying, they'll be able to hear. So
it kills the isolation ability. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It'd be different if the room you're in didn't need to be a room, because as soon as the doors are off, it's not really a room anymore.
Yeah. Then it's just a extension of the room that it's off of.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it. So I need to get this stuff arranged in the next few days. So I've been spending as much time as I can on that, but we'll see. Anyway, so today was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a good show.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I know I'm keeping you up late, and I'm sorry. You got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. So remember, guys, you are the salt of the earth. This Canuck is crazy. Bird, you're up past your bedtime. Go to bed. And I am the Salty Trekker, and this is not a cat dog. It is a land bat. Look at it. It's clearly just a wingless bat, right? You're a bat, right? Yeah, thought so.
Or a underwinged bat.
Yes. If you like